terrible things in my life and turn it into something funny.
Oh boy, we're screwed. I mean we're live. Welcome to Jim Norton and Sam Roberts.
I don't know why you had to pick the one mocking me to usher us in today. That doesn't seem right at all.
I thought they all mocked you.
What? No. They're not. No, they're not all at my expense.
Oh.
I mean, if they're at the show's expense, that's not just directed towards me.
Butt buddies?
Dude, that's not about me. That's about, like, the show and the relationship.
You're a butt buddy.
No, but it's also Jim. That's not... So you're saying that most of those intros where it involves Jim and me being gay together are because people think I'm gay?
Yes.
No.
Oh.
That's... You got it wrong. No. No. Go back and listen to some of these
I'm going to
things.
do that over vacation.
I feel like your condescension towards me is playing a role in this. Your inability to take me seriously is skewing your listening habits.
Well, you're such a silly guy.
I'm not.
Really?
No, when I tell you to do things, I'm not joking.
What did you tell me to do?
I tell you to do stuff all the time. You laugh.
But I do it.
I know, but it's like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And I'm like,
yeah.
You know.
And there goes the gay guy.
Come on. And the interns start calling me the gay guy, and I'm like, it's 2017. If I was gay, it wouldn't be a problem. But I'm married and I have a child, like the whole thing.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Well.
It's not, what do you mean, well?
I don't know. I wouldn't use that kind of word.
Well, I would. I wouldn't use the kind of words that you use.
Like good morning?
No, not like that. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. Jim is in, I don't know, somewhere in Europe. I saw the plane he was taking. I wanted to move into it. His first class suite was bigger than my apartment. He was running laps in it on Instagram.
It's insane.
I couldn't believe it. I've never seen a plane like it before. I guess that's by design, but because people like me are probably not supposed to ever see that stuff that's available. That's why people pay to sit there. But I had never seen a plane like that before. I can't wait to ask him about it. He's already, like, if he complains at all, I would be worried that there's no way that the actual time in Europe is going to live up to the time on the plane. I would
just want to get the tour over with and go back on the plane.
Yeah, do I get to take that plane home? That's great. I would want to take it from gig to gig. Like, can I take that between... I know I'm doing one in like wherever he's going. He's going to England and he's going to Amsterdam. Like, between England and Amsterdam, can I take one of those giant planes with a really nice first class? It was amazing. Well, welcome to the show. Jim is in Europe. It's Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. We got a bunch of people coming in. Very, very excited. Stamper from House of Cards is coming in today. His actor name is Michael Kelly, but he's Stamper from House of Cards, and I can't wait to talk to him, especially about everything that's going on. He's a big political guy, which I find interesting because I feel like if I were on House of Cards, watching House of Cards makes me feel like politics is bullshit. You know what I mean? I watch House of Cards, and I sit there going, oh, this probably is how it is. It's exaggerated a little bit. I don't think that many people are dying that quickly. But, I mean, look at what's going on with Sean Hannity and his show. People do die, and there are weird stories around it. I don't know who to believe anymore, but I watch House of Cards, and I go, oh, it probably is something shady. Every time, and that show, I think it skewed a lot of people. Every time on the news they tell you, oh, these wild conspiracy theorists, oh, there's nothing going on here. You go, I don't think so. I think there might be something going on here. At least in some of the instances. Every time anything happens, they go, oh, no. There's nothing going on here. And there's some ridiculous people trying to make it seem like there's foul play involved or there's more than meets the eye. But that's insane. That's crazy. These people are nuts. And you go, oh, okay, they're nuts. Yes, TV. These people are nuts. But then you turn on House of Cards and you go, wait a minute. What if they're not nuts? Especially because this guy that plays Stamper is a huge Bill Clinton fan in real life. But the show House of Cards is based on Bill and Hillary Clinton. So, I don't know. I'm very, very interested to talk to him. I did Fox News Radio last night, which was super fun. Andy Levy and Tom Shalhoub, who used to do Red Eye before it got canceled. I don't know. Nobody really knows why Red Eye was canceled. But they canceled Red Eye. And they kind of were like, I don't know, we're going to keep Andy Levy and Tom Shalhoub. I just don't know what we're going to do with them. And they've been putting them on Fox News Radio at night. I don't think they're full-time over there yet, but they're just, they were trying shows. It's the old Alan Combs slot. So they're trying shows in there, and this is one of the shows they're trying, but they've been doing several weeks of it. So it seems like, and I think it'd be a good idea to just do it, because it's a fun show to do. They actually have a good time. It's not just straight politics. I don't think they would have me on the show if it was just straight politics. Like, they talk about whatever, they goof around. But as I'm sitting there, right, we talked about whatever we talked about. We were talking about terrorism and language and the stuff, the language that's used to radicalize and the language that's used on television and all this stuff, which I liked. Because when you talk about language, you can talk about it conceptually. And when you can talk about things conceptually, you don't need to actually know facts. You don't need to do research to talk about stuff conceptually, and people can still assume that you know something. So that's where I'm a Viking. But we're talking about this, and we go to commercial break, and everybody starts buzzing because they look up at the TVs, and the producers are getting stuff in their headphones, and they go, "This is breaking news, but I think a politician just body slammed a reporter." And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, I think a politician just body slammed a reporter." And I look up at the TVs, and it says Montana congressman, guy running for Congress in Montana body slams a reporter. And I'm going, did he literally body slam a reporter? I'm looking at it going, it must mean that he just said something, or there was some kind of verbal exchange. Like, the reporter tried to throw something, like a strong question at him, and he hit him back hard. "Well, you guys are going to have to take a look in the mirror before you can criticize me." Oh, like a body slam. Like, oh, that reporter's going to think twice.
A verbal body slam.
That's it. That reporter's going to think twice before he talks to me again. I body slammed him. And then you do the slightest amount of research, and you find out, no, he picked him up and slammed him on the ground. Because he was frustrated. Now, I'm exceptionally interested in this because the Montana elections are today. So the night before the election, he body slammed a reporter. And we live, for the first time ever, what's beautiful about the time we live in, for the first time ever, we live in a society where nobody can figure out if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Like, you watch the coverage of this, and because of what happened with Trump, nobody's saying, oh, he just blew his chances. Nobody's saying it. All people are saying is, we don't know what's going to happen with the election today. Which is amazing. He body slammed a reporter, and nobody knows whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. People are going to be watching this election very closely and figuring out how they're going to strategize going forward. Because if this guy still wins, oh, these reporters are in trouble. Oh, all these reporters are like, I asked the tough questions. Oh, yeah, well, I beat the shit out of you.
And someone's going to stun someone.
Oh, there's completely. The constituents love it. For some reason, the constituents love when reporters get beaten up.
I mean, I would be hard-pressed not to vote for some guy who gave a Stone Cold Stunner to someone.
If I just saw, and he'd have to do it like Stone Cold. He'd have to shake his hand, and then they go like, okay, we're friends.
That's a good question.
Right. And then he'd put the double bird up, and then the reporter would go, oh no! And he'd have those scared eyes that were bugging out of his head, and then boot to the midsection stunner. Done. I'd vote for him. I think you're right, Travis.
Yeah, that's why I'm an independent. I never know who's going to stun who.
If you want to call the show, it's 866-969-1969. So he's this guy is in Montana, and he's reporting for the U.S. edition of The Guardian, which is a UK paper. And he's trying to ask this guy who's running for Congress. His name's Greg Gianforte. He's trying to ask Greg Gianforte about the Republican health care bill. And this guy, he doesn't want to answer those questions. He's not trying to hear anything about it. But our reporter friend, what's his name, Ben Jacobs, decides he wants to keep it going. Ben Jacobs is not satisfied. He goes, no. I'm a journalist. I hate that journalistic integrity. I'm a journalist. I need to get to the bottom of things. So what does he do? He confronts him. Now, some things are just laws of nature. At the end of the day, there's always going to be alpha male jocks, and there's always going to be nerdy reporter types. Those roles get established in high school, and they tend to continue on. You have to be able to pick your shots. When you're an adult, you're less likely to get beat up, but you've got to be able to pick your shots and realize that there is still that risk. This man can still beat me up, and he's aware of that. So the guy was still running tape, though. We don't have any video of the body slam, as it was called, but we have multiple witness accounts from the other press members that were there, and the guy from The Guardian, thank God, left his deal recording. So let's take a listen to Greg Gianforte body slamming a reporter. Yeah!
And we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came in here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
If you'd like me to get the hot up there, I'd also like to call the police.
Oh.
Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
He's already like figuring out what he's going to do with this. As soon as that politician puts his hands on him, he's like, "Oh, I have gold. I've struck gold." Excuse me, you just broke my glasses. My glasses didn't look like this when I came in here. My glasses are broken. Oh, I love it. I love it. The guy is Greg. I believe he's being charged with misdemeanor assault, although they just said the sheriff that is investigating him is also a donor to his campaign. So I don't know if there could be a conflict of interest there. But it also, this word body slam gets thrown around. So here's what happened. The body slam happens. It becomes national news. Within 30 minutes, the Gianforte campaign comes out with a statement. And they say that what happened was, this is the original thing that they said. What happened was the reporter was trying to ask him questions. He grabbed Greg Gianforte's wrist. Greg tried to spin him around, and they both fell down. And these things happen sometimes. And then somehow the glasses broke, which not one person believed. Everybody was like, no, it didn't. What are you talking about? Of course that didn't happen. I didn't body slam him. He pulled me down on top of him. No, but I also don't think it was a traditional scoop up body slam move. I think what happened is Greg's temper got the best of him. He was tired of answering questions. He's one day removed. All you need to do is play it cool for one more day. 24 hours. If you can be cool for 24 hours, you've made it through the entire cycle, win or lose. Then you got to deal with being the congressman, whatever. But win or lose, you've made it if you can go another 24 hours.
All right, I got this. One more speech.
That's it. One more speech.
No problem.
But what he didn't realize was he was going to encounter a bunch of wieners with tape recorders. He doesn't.
Four-eyed wiener?
He doesn't like four-eyed wieners. And he's never liked four-eyed wieners because the four-eyed wieners in high school made him feel stupid. And he always hated that. He was so good at football. But they always made him feel stupid. And he hated that because he was good at football. And he shouldn't be made to feel stupid. So he sees these four-eyed wieners and they're all pressing him. And he told them he doesn't want to talk to him. And they insist on talking to him. So what's he going to do? I think in my mind, here's the way it played out. He's got the tape recorder. He's mad. It's a four-eyed wiener. It's his trigger. He gets triggered by four-eyed wieners. He's got his tape recorder out. He goes, I don't want to answer the question. He grabs him by the wrist and then just kind of pushes. And then the guy falls down. The guy described it as like a choke slam type deal. He said he grabbed him by like the neck and picked him up and threw him down. I think he probably just kind of grabbed him and shoved him and he fell down. And the thing about four-eyed wieners is they're very fragile. So you might think that, you're just kind of jostling them a little bit and they break. Their glasses broke. They fall down. Like, it happens. You have to be delicate with them. But he immediately, that's why he's not answering questions. He immediately goes into like, I got to get out of here. The guy's like, well, what's your name? I'm leaving. I'm out of here. No. We made a huge mistake just now. We got to go. We have to leave right now. Let's go to Rob in Montana. We're listening to Rob. This is the man who is trying to represent Rob. What's going on, pal?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good.
Just heading to work right now, and I figure I'd call in, being, I don't hear too many people coming on the radio from Montana, and we don't really get on the news. But,
yeah, I mean, you guys are finally making national news.
Yeah, and just for body slamming someone, so
That's great.
That's pretty awesome.
So have you voted for your person running for Congress?
No, not yet.
Are you going to vote today?
Yeah.
What did Greg Gianforte body slamming a reporter do to sway your vote one way or the other?
Well, I was already leaning towards him anyway, but this solidified.
So you're definitely voting for him.
Yeah. I want a politician in office that isn't afraid to body slam a reporter.
It's so great because, you're sitting there and you're going like, when Trump was saying, I'm going to take away press passes from people, you start worrying like, uh-oh, that's freedom of the press. You don't want to fuck around with that. That's not good. But can you beat up reporters? Is that infringing on freedom of the press? They're free to ask any questions they want to ask. They might get body slammed. I can't guarantee. And then I might leg drop them after that. I can't promise what I'm going to do or not do.
Right.
That's great. Thank you, Rob.
Hey, no problem. You guys have a good one.
I'll talk to you later. Let's go to Anita in North Carolina. What's up, Anita?
Hey, I want to tell you, I started listening to you guys last week on my commute to and from work. I love you guys.
Oh,
I'm down
thanks.
in North Carolina, originally from New York City, but what I wanted to say about this whole GN40 thing is I just started rewatching The Sopranos, and the Guardian reporter should have known not to mess with a guy GN40 in Montana, of all places.
So you're saying if a guy is in Montana and has a vowel ending his last name, there's probably a reason he's there. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Thank you, Anita. I love that. Everybody says, too. That's why Italians were so mad at The Sopranos. They were like, it portrays us incorrectly. And everybody was like, no, it's not talking about all Italians. But then Anita calls in. She hears one Italian name, and she's like, well, he's probably in the mafia. That's why he did it. Josh in New Hampshire. What's up, dude?
Sammy!
How we doing, Josh?
Hey, I'm doing great. You're killing me this morning. This is hilarious. If you play the tape again, the reporter sounds like such a pussy. When he gets knocked down, you can hear him go like,
okay, I want to.
Let's play it again. It's the best.
All right, thank you, Josh. I want to hear. Let's play it again and listen for the moment that impact is made.
Let me turn it up.
Yeah.
And what
we'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah, but there's not going to be time. I'm just curious if you have the
speak
right
with
now.
Shane, please.
But you don't.
Sick and tired of you guys. The last guy that came here, you did the same thing. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. The last guy did the same thing. You were the Guardian?
Yes, and you just broke my glasses.
The last guy did the same damn thing.
You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
Get the hell out of here.
You'd like me to get the hot up here. I'd also like to call the police.
I'd like to call the police. I believe I got a phone call.
Can I get you guys' names?
Hey, you gotta leave.
He just body slammed me.
You gotta leave.
You got to go, man. You got to take a hint. If somebody body slams you, get out of there. You broke my glasses, so who's going to repay me for my glasses? You did hear him. When he gets slammed, he goes, Jesus! Ah! What do you think of him, Troy?
It's like these little nerdy guys that
really
just
is.
keep pushing, keep poking, and then they finally, get something coming to them, and then they're just total pussies about it.
Man, that's something I had to learn early. Like, because obviously I spent a lot of time poking at people on the air.
Oh, yeah.
But you know me. When I get out of here, I figure out what the line is between poking. Like, you're not going to see me go up to somebody on the street and poke at them. You're not going to see me go up to somebody I don't know and poke at them. Yeah, that's not, I would, because I know that there are real life ramifications. If we're in the studio and it's for entertainment, I'm like, hopefully I'm not going to get hit.
I thought there was times you were going to get hit.
Me too.
The one that comes to my mind is Pat Duffy.
He was really
I thought
close.
he was going to knock you the fuck out.
If we didn't have security in the building, I would have gotten a concussion that day.
Yes, you would have.
But you got to do it sometimes.
Of course.
And by the way, that's exactly why if it were real life, not a radio show, I wouldn't have done that. Like, I wouldn't have gotten that close to getting my ass kicked in real life Because for what?
I think you've come close though outside.
Yeah,
because you love when you see something, you just keep pushing that button.
Well, I seek truth.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I fight on the side of honesty.
But there are guys that don't play like you play.
No, they don't like that.
Right.
They don't like it as much. And they do that thing that happened to Gianforte, I think, where sometimes they're like, okay, I don't like what Sam's doing right now because he's being a little bit witty and he's being a smartass, and I'm not necessarily matching him on those skill sets. But I'm pretty sure I can crush his fucking face, and I'm going to have to do that because he won't shut the fuck up.
You've never been hit?
No. I mean, I've been grabbed. Yeah, I've been held.
I've seen that.
Yeah, there's been hands put on me, but I've never actually been punched in the face. I've been, and I think that's a credit to me.
Yeah, of course.
The fact that I can be me. By the way, people are going to be hunting for me after the show now. But
you've also calmed down a lot, I think. From when I first met you,
yeah,
you really love to just antagonize people. Now you're not. It's more on air and it's just silly.
Right.
But before, I mean, there was a time where I think you just, I mean, it might have just been the climate of what we were involved in. But you loved just pushing buttons and keep pushing buttons.
Well, I mean, sometimes I get bored, and like when I get bored, I misbehave. Like
Yes,
I mean, and that's what happened. The people, they misbehave. And there was when I was younger, yes, I would push a lot of buttons a lot of the time.
Because you figured out that was your strength.
Yeah, but then, I would push buttons off the air, but eventually I'd go on the air and be like, oh, so-and-so hates me because I was doing this. Or, hey, or just rat them out or something.
You also have the weird ability to really fucking piss somebody off.
Yeah.
And then somehow flip it real quick, and then they're just like not mad at you anymore.
Yeah, we're joking around.
It's amazing how you do that.
You know, though, I've never broken anybody's glasses. I saw one time Travis got his glasses broken. Remember when you got your glasses broken?
Oh.
Didn't Danny throw a dodgeball at you or something, and he broke your glasses?
Yeah, it was on accident, but I was really pissed.
Let me tell you something. When you break a guy's glasses, in my experience, he gets furious. Travis was no more fucking around for Travis. He's a very jovial guy normally, but his glasses broke, and he was fuming. He wasn't talking to anybody.
Yeah,
fuck you! You broke my glasses.
Well, because you broke my sight.
Right.
Like I can't see without these glasses.
That's one of my senses.
Yeah. I like that one too. Like, I like seeing.
I remember another time Travis was really pissed off. I've only seen it one time,
and I forgot about that.
What time was it?
Until like maybe a year ago when it was brought up, maybe by you, when we were doing when Sal was getting his pubes shaved,
and
waxed, and then he put some on my face.
Oh yeah,
I was fucking pissed.
Well, you had a man's pubes on your head.
Yeah, I would have been too.
Yeah. I was not happy about that.
Yeah.
But Travis is a very nice, like, chill guy. Even keel guy. That is the one time I thought he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
And don't break my glasses.
Don't break his glasses. That's the thing about Travis.
Broke my glasses.
So you have to learn. And he actually, when we hired him for the show, we were like, we want you to be the guy on the show. We want you to kind of run the behind the scenes of the show. And he was like, I'd love to. I love the show. I love you guys. I'm a guy who works by 2 rules. Number 1, don't break my glasses. Number 2, don't put pubes on my head. Other than that, we'll be cool.
So far, so good.
We were like, okay, you drive a hard bargain. We had to have it written into his contract. Andrew Moss was unhappy with the pubes thing. He said, we do not. And I said, Travis is worth it. We have to. And he said, okay, fine. For Travis. But he said, don't tell anybody we did that because all the other employees around here, every now and then, just so everybody remembers who's boss, they have to deal with pubes on their head.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, you got special treatment. We fought for you on that, dude. Don't ever say we didn't fight for you.
I also like knowing that I can put pubes on people around here and not. It's accepted.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Cool.
Kick people in the nuts, put pubes on their head.
You can't do that.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go to Chris on Long Island. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Sam. Good morning.
Morning, buddy.
This kid's definitely a Greenpoint reporter from Brooklyn, hipster type, who went out to Montana to report on this special election and invaded this guy's personal space and then realized that there's actually consequences for actions outside of New York.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right, because that's the thing about living in New York is that people assume that kind of, you can be a little bit smarmy as long as you have a liberal point of view, and that because, it's what I say, I mean, that's the liberal argument is generally taken so poorly by other people because they don't realize that they're arguing as if they're right and everybody else is wrong. That's why everybody was so shocked that Donald Trump won, because the people who disagreed with him, it wasn't just, I disagree with this political candidate. It was, I hold the moral authority over this candidate and everybody that votes for him. Morally, I am on the side of right, and they are on the side of wrong. And right conquers wrong. And, you know, it's a rude awakening that you have a point of view. It's not right or wrong. It's a point of view.
Yeah. And also, if you play the replay again, there's a part where he just makes like a gurgling noise, like, ah! It's hilarious. He's just fucking out of his element. All right, Sam, have a good one.
Thank you, Chris. He also, like, you can tell somehow, most guys, like a man, would probably try to sweep this under the rug a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, they would probably not want to go home and be like, yeah, I just got body slammed by a bigger man than me. It was like, that's what I did with my evening. He'd be like, yeah, but that's neither here nor there. I did some other stuff today. This guy is like, immediately after it happened, he was on Twitter going, oh, I just got body slammed and he broke my glasses. If you're tweeting about your glasses being broken, what are you doing? And he's like, every tweet he's posted now, he's like, hey, here's the audio. Pin this tweet. Listen to me get body slammed in Montana. Literally what the tweet says. It's amazing.
People don't think like that anymore, though. Guys like this.
What, like about having pride?
Well, where you just, you're like, you know what? I got body slammed, but I was being an asshole. And I was pushing this guy's buttons, and he snapped. It's now like, it doesn't matter how far this guy's been pushing. It's like I was victimized.
Right. Because it should never result to physical violence. As opposed, if I ever got hit, I would like to think, yeah, I was pushing his buttons and then I got hit. Like I don't think that I would make it this, grand crime of the century.
Right.
Jason in Oklahoma.
Sammy Brand Muffins.
How are we doing?
You?
Good.
I'm good. The four-eyed wieners, you do realize that, there's only one thing separating you from the four-eyed wieners, right?
Glasses?
Glasses, yes, sir.
Bro, I am no wiener. I'm a man's man.
Uh-huh. Okay. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Jason. I think I convinced him. And the other thing is, with this story, that most of the news, I should have seen this coming, but I didn't. They're blaming Trump. Like, everybody's like, well, what else can you expect in Trump's America? Of course reporters are going to get assaulted in Trump's America. This is what we've come to believe is Trump's America. And nobody's taking any sort of context of, like, what the culture is now. Nobody's talking about the culture of outrage that was around way before Trump. Nobody's taking into consideration what you just said. This idea that people think that they can say whatever they want to whoever they want because all of us that have an opinion are equal. My opinion means just as much as yours, and you know what I mean? Like, none of that stuff comes into play. It's all just, well, Trump says rude things, so of course politicians are going to beat up reporters. Like, that's a hell of a leap, no?
Right.
Am I crazy? Let's go to Matt in Montana. What's up, Matt?
Sammy Brand Muffin.
How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Hey, going back to that lady from North Carolina, to further the stereotype, Gianforte is actually from New Jersey.
That's so fun. Are you going to vote for him?
Fuck no.
You won't. Okay. All right. So we're split. That's funny that he's from Jersey. That's funny. We got our first guest coming in. Yeah. Bear can come in. Bear Grylls is here. Bear Grylls is promoting his show Running Wild. The Red Nose Day special airs tonight because it is Red Nose Day. Bear!
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Nice to see you.
You too. Sit down.
Where would you like me?
Wherever. Middle chair? That's perfect. Welcome, buddy. How are you doing?
Surviving.
Yeah?
Hanging on in there.
Oh, I got a red nose.
Yeah, there you go. There's another one.
All over the place. It's Red Nose Day. I used to, when I was a kid, I lived in England for a while.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So you kind of know Red Nose Day then?
Yeah, I was there from like 1988 to 92.
Wow, what were you doing?
I was, my dad worked in advertising.
Yeah.
So we just lived out there for like 4 years.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, but I remember Red Nose Day was a thing then, there.
Yeah, and still is. It's just grown and grown, and it's so exciting to see it really starting to fly in America, And
it was only the last couple years, right, that it's been a thing in America?
Yeah, and it's good. I think, that the goal is to take it all over the world eventually, and I think to see more and more countries come together and try and do something good for young children is a great thing. So Red Nose Day is tonight. And
well, explain what Red Nose Day is. Like, what's the purpose?
It's basically, so the one we did, I took Julia Roberts on an adventure to Africa, and we were delivering vaccines to this tiny little remote village in the middle of nowhere. And even though what we were doing was like a little drop in the ocean, the goal tonight is to say, hey, look, we can do this. Together we can do so much more. We can deliver not just, 250 vaccines, but actually 250,000 vaccines. And here's what it can do. And this is a difference it makes to young children's lives. And doing good things and saving lives feels good.
So is that what, when people walk around today, or they hear about Red Nose Day, or they see people wearing these red noses, is it specifically related to finding vaccines for people, or is it just...
Well, actually, Red Nose is smart because it picks projects all over the world and all through America as well, and supports disadvantaged kids, and it does so much. I mean, you really need to check out rednoseday.org is where all the different things, but it compiles all these incredible charities and brings it all together in one place for one big evening extravaganza of saying, look what we can do, look at all these projects,
right,
and get involved.
What was it like?
And wear red nose.
Ridiculous red nose, yeah. And these are better than they used to be. These ones you just gave me are like foam.
Yeah.
Back when I was a kid, like it was those hard plastic ones that would like pinch your nose.
That was when men were men.
That's right.
That's the only thing about Red Nose Day is that it's gone soft.
Right.
Although the adventures have definitely amped up.
Well, yeah. What was it like going to Africa to deliver these things with Julia Roberts?
Well, I had the words of my wife ringing in my ear going, don't kill pretty woman, please. Just be gentle.
Yeah, it's one thing to bring the celebrities on the kind of adventures that you go on is one thing, but to bring a national treasure, which is Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
With you.
We've been super lucky with Running Wild. We've taken some amazing guests over the years. I mean, the one that I was probably most nervous of was Obama.
Right.
But I figured it wasn't all on my shoulders that time because we had about 65 Secret Service in the background, helping me out. Snipers in the mountains on, grizzly bear patrols and you name it.
That's so funny that they had to get...
One, she was... we were right in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Africa, trying to find this little village, racing against time because we were carrying these vaccines that had to be kept at a certain temperature. Julia, she was, respect to her, first of all. She's right out of her comfort zone. She'd never done anything like this before. It was 120 odd degrees, snakes, crocs everywhere. And on quite a sort of dynamic journey across difficult terrain, trusting a Brit to keep her safe. So it was an adventure, but credit to her, she did amazingly.
How do you stop Julia Roberts from getting bit by a snake? I mean, you kind of can't, right?
First we'll say keep up. And tread where I tread.
Yeah.
And keep going, never give up.
Right, that's it.
I mean,
just think positive thoughts.
That's right. Traditionally, it's always a third man in an army patrol that got bit in the jungle. It was the first, person we'd put at point. He would wake the snake.
Right.
Guy at number 2 would annoy the snake, and the number 3 gets...
Is that how it works?
Yeah, so Julia was number 2. She's all right.
Right, she should be fine. The snake is still kind of annoyed.
There's a cameraman behind that's in trouble.
He's just got he's just wearing a rubber suit the whole time. It's the only way he survives. I was going to ask, how do you deal with, even doing interviews with people in here, the big celebrities coming with big entourages of people that are kind of making sure that they always look good and that they're not in an uncomfortable position or anything.
So what are you saying? That I've got my one buddy with me.
Well, no,
I look like death.
No, I meant do you have to deal with that when you're taking celebrities in the outdoors, as the publicist somewhere off camera?
No, do you know what the great thing is that now we've done enough of them. We started, the first one we ever did was with Will Ferrell. Mm-hmm. And credit to him, we just said, listen, just come on your own and trust us. We didn't really know what we were doing. We knew what we were doing in the adventure space. We didn't know about how to treat celebrities.
Right.
And the guy was amazing. We've now done, we're moving on to the 5th season of the shows now. So we've done a lot of them. But we always say, just come on your own, trust us, and bring a big bag of enthusiasm and maybe a spare pair of socks.
And that's it.
And they go, really? But most of the time, I think people, they like it because it's a chance to be treated like a normal human being again and actually have to, they always work hard, but actually just not to have somebody always passing a glass of water and checking you're all right. And,
right.
And I think the world of celebrity, people can go a little bit mad, and it's not that they want to go mad. They actually quite like it when you treat them like a normal human being and say, listen, if you take your hand off the rope, you're going to die. Don't let go of it. My life's in your hands, your life's in your hands. Work hard. 2 days, it's not going to last forever, and then you'll be super proud at the end.
Has there been any celebrities that almost killed you or themselves, and you had to be like, no, you hold on to the rope. What are you doing?
Yeah, most journeys. But no, it's good. The thing is, it's a lot of kind of second guessing, I think, because when we did 7 seasons of the show on my own. Man vs. Wild was just kind of charging around, and everything happens fast and a bit subconsciously, and rope around a tree, done, right. Good, we're off. But suddenly you have. Whoever these stars on the other end of the rope is like, right, double check the knot, let's get this right, talk them through it. If you ask them, they would say, Bear, what do you mean? You give us a lesson that lasts about 4 seconds and then you're gone. And it's like, hold on. But no, it's good fun, and they always can't believe that the journey is just a journey, that it's so unplanned, and we take a coil of rope and I scout an area from a helicopter the day before.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we just small team and we go and have fun. And at the end of it, the bit I love is at the start when they look, like you say, they look amazing, all made up and da-da-da. And then you cut to sort of 2 days later and they're literally sort of just caked in mud, hairs everywhere. You're soaking wet, freezing cold, blanket wrapped around them, final interview.
Yeah, it's almost
and I actually think genius, because that's a real you, and it's wonderful.
And it's a process of humanizing them for the audience, right?
Yeah, I think so. And all of us crave its authenticity, it's what we love, and it's really powerful when you see it in people you know well from TV. So I start off and end these things with huge respect for our guests.
Did you worry about, speaking of authenticity, obviously you've managed it just fine, but when the word on you, they were saying, well, Man vs. Wild is fake and it's not what it appears to be and all this stuff. Did you worry that press would stop you from being able to continue this line of work because the stuff you were doing, people would not take seriously?
Well, I think, first thing is, I think, if you do anything in the public eye, you're going to get stuff fired at you. Still, there's always stuff. Still today, you always get kind of, stuff like that. But the other thing is that I notice that sometimes these guests turn up and they kind of hope it is like that. They go, oh, hold on, we're actually really doing this.
Yeah.
We're not in a green screen.
Where's the part where we stop and the cameramen do all the work for us? I don't understand.
Which always sort of makes the crew, smile. But hey, no, it's I think the best response ever to criticism is keep doing your job and do it with your heart and soul, and taking people along for the ride is always a good way to answer those questions. We should really want to just take journalists.
Yeah, just to be like, report on this.
Yeah, actually, journalists are always nice nowadays, but I think if you do the job long enough, I think the point is you definitely have the bad with the good, don't you?
You know what you do? This is a great idea for a show, and if you do make it, I'd like you to contact me, and because I'd like to be a producer on it. But because I think it's brilliant, I just thought of it. You need to go through Twitter, and you need to find the most negative people that you can find. You need to bring the mean tweeters on these expeditions.
Yeah, what then? Dangle them off that crocodile.
Yeah, exactly, and let them know.
Infested river on a rope.
Right, and not only show them how real it is, but should God forbid something terrible happen, most of us will be like, it happens. Better him than me.
Yeah, everyone's doing their job. It's good. It's good. I used to take things much more personally,
in the beginning,
and now it's like everyone's just trying to, everyone's writing a headline.
Well, and I think when you get to the point where not only are you've been in the public eye for as long as you've been, but you're hanging out with.
It's not that long.
Wow.
What are you saying?
Well, it's a little while. That's all. You're still a young man.
I'll take it as a compliment. It's
good. You haven't aged, is what I'm saying.
Thank you very much.
But
it's the low lighting in the studio. I got a real face for radio.
But when you're hanging out with Obama, it's like some of the naysayers must kind of go to the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that was a great privilege for sure. And, like I say, I think the best answer always to stuff is doing great adventures, doing what you love, trying to have a positive impact along the way. And
Yes.
Red Nose Day is such a sort of privilege to be involved with like that. And also taking the top people out there, you know, and we say no a lot on Running Wild, and we try and keep it top tier.
guests?
Yeah, for sure. And we take people we really think that the public know well but don't really know, you know. And I think so many of these top stars, you know, we all know them, but actually don't know. We know them from the movies, but
Right.
actually don't know what they're like as human beings. And I think Running Wild is so wonderfully revealing like that, because you get to talk about stuff you never get to talk about on a chat show, where it's a 3-minute performance of how funny you can be and, you know, what stories you can tell. And actually, you know, people, it's amazing when you hear just about people's struggles and their doubts and their, you know, their triumphs and their fears and their families and all the stuff that actually made them and took them to where they are now. And that's the real stuff of people's journey, however big they are.
And you must have realized that from the beginning, just knowing as an adventurer, as somebody who climbs mountains and goes through these jungles and everything, that the people that you go with, you must have made these amazing connections with.
Well, I think
because of the surroundings.
It gives you, you're right, it gives you a connection like you don't get in everyday life very easily.
Right.
I think as human beings, we're designed like this. You go through the fire together, whatever it is, the storms together. You come out, you know, you look at each other in the whites of the eyes. You come out as, you know, with strong connections. And I love it. You know, I think so often I've heard these stars say, actually, I feel closer after 2 days. You do sometimes after months and months on a movie set where it's much more kind of, you know, maybe formal and, you know, there's a pecking order.
Right.
You know, the Wild doesn't care. It doesn't care who you are, how famous you are, how rich you are. It just says, work hard.
Yeah.
You know, and trust me and go for it.
Do you end up maintaining relationships with any of the people who do the show? Because I would imagine that your show, like you said, you connect with people. People probably feel very close to you after a very short period of time. Do those relationships, like, do you end up being like, oh, now Julia Roberts or whoever it is, now he's a buddy now?
We're like that.
Yeah, is that right? Just
No,
joined at
do you
the
know,
hip.
I mean, the thing is, I live miles away, but you know, it's nice when I come through LA or New York. I try and, you know, look up, you know, past guests and say. We actually had a fun dinner last time I was in LA, which isn't very often, and I got as many of our guests together as we could, and we went out for dinner. It was actually really fun.
So you just got to go on a dinner with a whole bunch of celebrities.
Yeah, but then what happened is, like, after a few drinks, everyone's going, "Well, how big was the cliff you went down?" It was like, how big was the cliff you went up?
That's awesome.
Before I knew it, and then I think it was Courtney Cox. She goes, "This is like a cliff off." You know, it's like, but it was very fun, and
are you just looking around the table like, how did this happen to me? Like, I'm now, like, this is amazing. Like, this isn't a trajectory career-wise that anybody would have seen for you or anybody else, to tell you the truth. Like, do you look around like this is kind of amazing?
I do feel really lucky with my job. But also, you know, my mum always says everyone puts their trousers on one leg at a time. Do you know what I mean? It's a reminder everyone's normal people. We all have our jobs. And, you know, some people blaze super bright for a little bit. And it's like, I kind of treat it all a little bit with, you know, a bucket of salt, you know, and I'm grateful for the relationships, and I love that, and I love the adventures, and I love just as much the crew that we do it with, who are the real, you know, unsung heroes along the way. But I definitely, you're right, I sort of regularly pinch myself, and I wake up every day grateful, and I think the job from there is to keep doing your best and try and encourage other people and staff, you know.
Do you get off on celebrity interaction? Because, like, somebody like me, because as you were talking, I realized that your life experience would probably lead you to being impressed with more than just somebody who's famous. Like, you've seen and done things that most people haven't done. You've climbed Mount Everest. You've done, like, you know what I mean? So, I think for me, I'm like, oh my God, that's a person from a movie. Oh, that's a person from a TV show. Like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think it does, but I think also you will know in your life, I think when you see behind the kind of curtains of stuff, you also know who the real heroes are in life, and it's not always the people out the front. And I like that. I think you kind of, you know, my travels and my work have taken me all over the world, and I say it in a genuine way that I've met some proper incredible people, and they are the unsung ones. But it's but it is, of course, it's a great privilege to hang out with amazing, you know, movie stars and stuff like that. That's, I suppose, something. I mean, I used to get really nervous I still get a bit nervous, actually, when I meet them for the first time.
Really?
But in the first couple of seasons, I used to stand outside their door, you know, where we'd meet, get them, you know, the hotel, and we'd get a whole base, and get all the crew together, and I'd brief them, and then, next day we'd be into the adventure, but I'd go and knock on their door. And I'd always be a little bit out of breath, because the sort of heart rate was up. And I think, wow, I'm going to meet Ben Stiller or Zac Efron or Channing Tatum or Kate Hudson or, whoever it is. And I'm like, ugh. And I'm still a little bit like that. But I think it's it's good. It's as much about the journey ahead as it is them. We're doing something where I've got to keep them safe. And that is always sort of front and center of, what I do.
You also have to take pride in the fact that this famous person or this person that you're nervous to meet or whoever it is coming to you to learn your skill set. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's good that the celebrity's there, but the show revolves around your skill set, and that's not something that other people have.
Yeah, and it's nice actually that they're always a little bit nervous as well. I mean, literally, as I said, in the early days, I'd walk into the room, I'd be sort of sweating and not being able to speak very well. And then I'd be quite relieved to see that they're sweating and not able to speak very clearly. I thought, this is going to be fine, and it's a good way to start the journey because it's authentic again, isn't it?
Who were you most surprised by on the show? In a good way or a bad way?
I think Julia Roberts tonight was amazing because I think, again, I've learned on the show, don't judge a book by the cover just because they're petite and beautiful. Doesn't mean they're not going to be hard as nails underneath.
Right.
And she was amazing, fun, determined, really positive. I mean, it was a hard conditions we were in. Even the crew were going, wow, this is brutal out here,
Mm-hmm.
And that smile kind of, it carried them along, it kept going all the way and good for her. So,
because she doesn't have to, right? Like at this point in her life,
really
she doesn't have to do
That's
it.
the great thing. But that actually is the magic of for me, of running wild, is that none of these guys need the money or the fame. They do it because, as you say, they want the experience. And it's a sort of a grounding journey again for these people, and that for me is a great privilege.
How does your wife feel about you sharing these amazing experiences with like the most beautiful women in the world? Because like my wife would hate it. She would absolutely, if I was like, oh yeah, I was hanging out with Julia Roberts or Kate Hudson or whoever it is, and we had this amazing experience trying to avoid this snake, or I thought it was going to be one way, but we really connected. Oh, you connected.
You connected.
Oh, must have been nice. It wouldn't have gone well for me.
It's a little bit like that. So sometimes I go, I'm pretty nervous about this one. It's going to be really cold. It's going to be like minus 35. And she goes, oh, honey, you'll be okay. And I go, yeah, but it's a long, it's going to be a tough one. And she goes, who are you taking? And I sort of show a picture on the phone. And she goes, okay, see you in a week. It's like,
I don't want to hear about this anymore.
I think she also trusts all of their better judgment.
That's the trick, right?
Yeah.
To find a wife that knows you well enough that even if you would, you couldn't get it done anyway.
She doesn't have a worry in the world.
You couldn't seal the deal even if you had the option. That's probably what my wife.
Yeah, and also all of the crew are much better looking as well. So I'm always like, oh God, they're all going to fall in love with you.
When you were doing the show on your own, something that, because my wife and I used to watch all the time, and something that she would point out to me was that you generally on most episodes found a reason to take off your clothes and monkey crawl out of a quicksand pit. Like it was that to me was one of your staples. It was like, I'm going to take off my clothes, I'm going to jump in this quicksand, I'm going to monkey crawl out. Do you find reasons to get naked when the celebrities are around?
Less so now.
You do?
Yeah, less so. I mean, the thing is, in those days, what would happen is we would be on a journey for 10 days. For one episode. And at some point during that 10 days, I was going to go down to the Jungle River and strip off and, wash my undercrackers.
Right.
Just that happened to be that's a bit the editors and the producers would put on film. Nowadays it's a 2-day journey and we don't really need to
wash your undercrackers?
Wash my undercrackers. We can't, I feel conscious for them. They're vulnerable as it is coming on the show with no hair and makeup and just, talking about, real stuff without having to get naked.
Yeah.
So,
if it's me, you wouldn't do this, but I'd probably try it anyway. If like Kate Hudson was on, I was like, okay, Kate, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take off all our clothes. What? All right, never mind. We're going to wash our undercrackers.
We're going to wash our undercrackers. Actually, if I do it, we'll do it with, I'll make sure it's with a guy. So there's no, otherwise it's like, if I was watching it, I'd be going, yeah, right. Yeah, the last one, I was thinking last season, Nick Jonas, we got down to our undercrackers to swim across a frozen lake. But I wouldn't do it. If it was we've had a lot of kind of swimming across stuff with women, but I just go, we're all keeping the clothes on, this is good.
Yeah. You were the envy of teenage girls everywhere in that moment.
Yeah, that's okay. That's good.
Right.
And I can understand why. We're fit, strong, good-looking guy he was, So, yes.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, are you? Is this? Where does this rank on your? Do you like this show better than the old show, or do you wish you were doing the old show again just because it was simple? You didn't have to book a guest. You didn't have to do. You could just go out and do your thing.
I love this. This is the best one.
You do?
Yeah, by far. I mean, this is a dream job for me because I think there's, it's amazing seeing transformation in people and pride, and if it's just one man, me doing my stuff, it's like, oh, come on, it's good. But I think you take someone who's never done this before.
Right.
And also you have something to measure it against, this actually is quite scary or is quite hard physically or whatever. But seeing that transformation of people from nervous and unsure and unskilled over 2 days to seeing them having that pride, confidence, some training,
right?
And I love that. I really do. It's something you can't buy. Money can't buy it. It's a pride that has to be hard won, and these guys and girls earn it the hard way. So it's a dream job. It really is.
How do you feel about big game hunters?
I'm not really into it,
right?
To be honest, I think everyone always assumes I'm going to be really into hunting and kind of all of this stuff. I've done so much of it over, not the big game stuff, but so much kind of wilderness killing, I suppose, over the years. I actually don't really like it, and I really now, we do hardly any of it.
Yeah.
And if we kill anything, even like snakes, I'm shy. I'm always now finding our guests bugs, grubs, worms, some eggs or whatever it is in the wild, just because, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting, I don't know.
Just getting soft, like these red noses?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, it kind of boggles my mind a little bit that...
I mean, the trophy stuff,
it's crazy, right?
It's just like, hold on, stop.
Yeah. Did you see
a gun?
There was yeah. What are you bragging about? You killed this animal with a gun.
It's not like you're eating it either.
No, it's just to brag and say, like, look what I did.
They're not eating Cecil the lion or whatever.
Right. Did you see the story this week that somebody killed, a big game hunter killed a giant elephant, shot him and everything, and when he went to collect...
The mind boggles, wow.
The elephant fell on him and crushed him to death.
Yeah, I did see
It's great.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I was psyched about it.
I'm psyched about it.
I was like, it made me feel like there was order to the universe again.
Yeah, well, I do think there is a bit of order like that.
Yeah.
I think definitely in all of our lives, what goes around comes around. So, yeah.
I think so. A couple of people want to talk to you. You mind taking a couple phone calls?
Sure. What do I do?
Just grab those headphones, yeah. And Troy, you want to make sure his volume's up on his headphones, Troy? Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
You good? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. John in New York. What's up, John?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, buddy.
I just got to know, Bear, what was it like to do that show with Marshawn Lynch?
Do you know, it's funny you asked that. I mean, he was, I don't really get it, okay, because to me, he was just like a cool American footballer, and we went and had a great adventure. People go nuts for this one.
Yeah.
Out of all the shows,
Marshawn
I'm
Lynch
looking at my buddy, Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, I mean, he was like, and it was a really fun episode. I think people liked it because it was literally like we were from two different worlds.
Yeah.
I didn't understand a word he was talking about. He certainly didn't understand what I was going on about. And it's just we're stuck in the middle of nowhere and we've got to look after each other, otherwise it's going to get ugly. And actually, because he got really quite full on with me at some points when he was scared, sort of,
He got pissed.
Sticking, the old big finger in my chest and going, nobody speaks to me like this. I go, Marshall, that's not the point. We got to get down this thing. Just go.
Right.
Go.
And then you, as the host and the person who's in charge of here, you have to figure out, am I more afraid of this going wrong or Marshawn Lynch kicking the crap out of me right now?
Well, there was one point in that where I had a knife in one hand. Marshawn had a spear we'd made in his hand. We had a cliff, about 300 foot overhanging cliff, literally about 4 feet from everyone, and a wild boar charging us from the other side. And it was like, okay, this is good. This is like time to think fast on your feet.
Yeah.
I think that's why people liked it. What a cool guy. Actually, it was a real privilege to get to know him and I love him. I mean, he let me make fire out of his dreadlocks. I thought, by the end of the day, I thought he's really going to kill me now.
Right.
But I said, give us a bit of your dread. Didn't give him a chance. And I thought, he's going to tip him over the edge. And he's just totally cool, good fun.
Yeah.
And, much respect.
He's a hilarious guy. You know, I don't know if you keep up with like what he does on the NFL side of things. But
isn't he going back into football?
He is going back into football, but
That's good.
The stuff that he's done in interviews is just, it's a classic.
But he never does. What I love is he doesn't do them.
Right.
You know, everyone's going, what? You got him? He
doesn't do
fined
anything
every game because he doesn't do it, but he wants to come and do the show. And that's what, for me, is the magic of running. That's what I love. It sort of gives people a platform where they can actually just be themselves, you know.
He's only willing, Marshawn Lynch is willing to do two things now that I know of. Your show and Skittles commercials. And that's what he just must like.
Right. Well, but again, it's authentic because he loves Skittles.
He loves Skittles.
I took my backpack was half full of Skittles. It had knife, grappling hook, rope, and Skittles.
Right.
And
did you eat Skittles with him?
It's about the only time I saw him really smile with like delight rather than anger was when I pulled out the bag of Skittles. No, but he's a good guy. He taught me a great thing about, you probably know about this, about the dirty yards.
What about?
Life. Do you know about dirty yards?
I don't know.
See, this is great. You're Americans. You don't know about the dirty yards.
I don't think I know.
CG.
No idea.
No.
It's unbelievable. You're an American football nut. Okay.
And he doesn't know, and CG doesn't even know.
What's the question?
The dirty yards?
You know about the dirty yards?
I don't know. I don't think I've heard of that.
So basically, he was, you know, we're halfway up this rock face. I'm going, I can hardly hold his weight on the rope. You know, we're not going to get up this thing. He's crawling, goes on. Eventually, he crawls over top, lying on his back. He's hyperventilating. We're covered in mud and blood and all that good stuff. And I go, good for you. This is where it's won. It's not on the big glamorous moments at the start of the journey. The journey happens right now. In this moment, getting your face in the grit and getting it. And he gets to the top and he goes, I get it. It's the dirty yards. I go, what do you mean the dirty yards? He goes, I go, what was the part of the American football that you love the most? He goes, the dirty yards. I go, well, not the touchdowns and the big glamorous throws and the fancy runs. He goes, no, that's the dressing. The game is won in the last quarter and in the dirt, because the dirty yards you've done for 3/4 of the game, in the last quarter, the inches become the yards and the yards win the game. So you win it in the dirty yards where your face is ground in the dirt and nobody can see it because you got 17 hefty, great big guys on top of you with kicking their head, you know.
But all the grass is torn up and every inch counts.
But nobody sees it, you know. Right. It's the unsung kind of, and that's so true of the wild. It's so true of life. And it was like, right, I get that, Marshall. Now give us your dreadlock, you big. We need to get fire going. Yeah.
And Joe in Missouri also has a question for you if you want to throw those on again. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, Barry, I was going to ask you, what was it like, I mean, at your age when you did it, when you climbed Everest? You know, because when I read your book, that's how I found out about you. I'm like, who is this crazy bastard?
So how old were you when you climbed Everest?
23.
Right.
Joe, you're kind. Thank you. Thanks for reading the book. What was the question?
What was it like?
It was a huge dream of mine, Joe, since I was a young kid. It really was. My dad taught me to climb when I was super young. You know, at that age, it was my way of being close to him. You know, we climbed together. And Everest had been a big dream since then. You know, I broke my back in a freefall accident whilst I was in the British Special Forces. And then suddenly the dream of Everest was a long way away, but it became the whole focus of my recovery. And, you know, a few years later, I was lucky to get the chance to be part of an army team, and 2 of us reached the top. You know, 4 people lost their lives up there, and it was
In your team?
No, people we were climbing with at the same time. 2 died of the cold, 2 fell. And it's, it kind of, you know, I don't know. In many ways, I came back with less confidence than I went with, you know.
Really?
Because I think it's a reality of seeing stuff go wrong close up, and actually it doesn't always work out the way you want. But
right.
You know, we were super lucky. We got to the top and we got home safely, and it was a very humbling experience, but one that will, you know, stay with me forever, I guess.
Because you saw it go wrong for other people, so it became clear to you in front of your eyes, this goes wrong. And those people are just as skilled as you. Yeah,
exactly. It goes wrong without any mistakes that people make often. Is you're just a lot of objective danger, stuff you can't control, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't relate to it at all. I would stay far away from that mountain. They said 10 people this season.
Yeah, that's right. I read
have
that
died
the other
climbing
day.
the mountain.
Yeah, it's like you sort of forget it, and it kind of, I think when we climbed it was a 1 in 6 chance of not coming home.
Wow.
And at the time you think, oh, it's great. It's like, I just read the statistic and you think, and it's kind of romantic until it hits you hard in the face, and then it's kind of, pretty ugly.
Would you do it now?
No.
Right.
I'm dad now, 3 great boys.
That's what I was
and then
thinking,
the
now
truth
that you're
is,
dad.
I'm not prepared to risk it all for a mountain any longer. There are times to risk it all in your life, but choose it wisely, and that's the sort of, that's a wisdom that you gain, I suppose, over the years. But at the time, I was ready to risk it all and did risk it all.
Well, plus you got celebrity friends now. You don't want to ruin that. Like you got something to live for.
The cliff offs.
Right. You get dinner with Courtney Cox. You're not climbing any mountains anytime soon. Well, listen, everybody, check out the Running Wild with Bear Grylls special Red Nose Day episode. It airs tonight at 9 p.m. on NBC. That's the episode with Julia Roberts. And celebrate Red Nose Day. Get on. Go to rednose.org. Is that what you said?
I think it's rednoseday.org.
Rednoseday.org, and find out what it's all about and why everybody's wearing these red noses. Bear.
Thank you, guys. Really nice to be with you all. Take care.
Thank you, man. We'll be right back after this. I don't know this. Welcome back. It's Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. Jim is in Europe doing some dates. Winding down. We're going to be off next week, but there's some amazing best of that's going to be on. Bear Grylls could have made the best of, but too late. If he'd come in last week, maybe.
Speaking of Everest, Corey Richards will be in the best of.
Yes, Corey Richards, who came in right after he climbed Everest, right?
No.
No,
he climbed it last year.
So what was he in promoting?
Something else. I forget.
Look.
And then he's climbing it again this year.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. He's the one who climbed Everest and wanted to live stream it, and then ran out of battery when he got to the top of Everest on his phone. I mean, that is crazy. He had all the equipment with him to have traveling internet on the top of Everest, but then his phone ran out of battery once he got up there. So he'll be on the best of. I think tomorrow you'll be able to tune in tomorrow morning and hear our live event that a lot of you haven't heard. Video of some of it is up on our YouTube channel, not the whole show. So if you want to hear the whole show, tune in tomorrow morning starting at 8 a.m. and you'll hear the live event at the Village Underground and that had our co-host Anthony Cumia and Colin Quinn.
Yeah, and if you were listening the other day with Mary Jean...
Yes, you'll get to hear listen. That's my favorite part of the live show now. Listen to it tomorrow and listen to the very end, because you'll get to hear, I think I said it, like somebody yells out from the crowd and I go, who's fighting? Mary Jane and the other porn star. What? And then the show just kind of ends and the drama just picks up from there.
And then the phone call that we took with her when Allison Tyler was in studio.
Yeah,
that's also airing tomorrow.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great, because that's the bow on it.
It really is.
She still came in here this week and cursed out Allison Tyler, which I don't think any of us expected.
No.
So you'll be able to get the context of everything that Mary Jean was upset about yesterday or 2 days ago. Whenever
2 days ago.
2 days ago. The context of all that will be on tomorrow morning here on the channel. Let's go to Biggs in Boston. What's going on, Biggs?
Hey, thanks for liking my Art Garfunkel album cover the other day on Twitter. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I liked the Art Garfunkel. Oh, I think I don't remember what it was, but some of the Garfunkel stuff I find funny.
I appreciate that.
I went to 7-Eleven the other day, and it was like he looked like a Filipino guy, but he always wears hats and T-shirts that say Germany on it. And he goes like, You look like my idol. And I was like, who's your idol? And he was like, Garfunkel. And I was like, all right, can I just get my big gulp and leave? I don't need this.
Were you hoping it was someone else?
Yeah, I was hoping it was somebody handsome.
Hulk Hogan.
And now we've gotten to the point where, people used to say, Sam, you look like Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. And I always appreciate people have said that for years.
What?
They say that all the time. I swear.
You?
Yeah.
Like you've said that to yourself.
No, I have not. I don't see it. People have said that, but the fact that you and Troy are questioning it as much as you are.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never heard that once.
Yeah. Wait, a lot of people have said, first of all, you guys don't know anything about the Heartbreak Kid. And second of all, it's insulting that you guys are giving me the looks that you're giving me.
I agree you're a sexy boy.
Thanks.
But you're not the Heartbreak Kid.
Well, listen, they said that that's what I look like now, when people do say that, and it comes up still from time to time, they make a point to say from the eyebrows down. Like they say from here to here. They don't include the forehead or the hair anymore.
From the eyebrows down.
Eyebrows down.
So
they
the
say
body.
Shawn Michaels. No, okay, maybe they mean eyebrows to chin, but yeah,
Okay.
I'll accept body on that. Yeah, the entire body from the waist down. You look like Shawn Michaels. Oh, what's going on, Biggs?
So, all right, I hate to bring up some controversy, but
That's okay. I bring it up.
As I'm sure you probably know by now, there was on the Opsters radio show, there was a talk of circumcision, which somehow randomly got into you.
Well, I'm the king of circumcision.
And then, yeah. And then he talked about your lack of integrity. And I was curious as to what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I got a couple of tweets about it, and one of Opie's guys texted me, and I'm not telling you which one. But no, I mean, it's fine. Like at this point, I don't care. You know, I think he said that he wished it was an integrity replacement surgery or something like that. Which it's fine. I get it. I don't have any ill will toward Opie. You know, he's done so much for my career that I can't really maintain any kind of venom towards this guy, nor do I really have reason to. I don't really, and if he's mad at me, I get it. You know, I didn't do that much, but I get it. You know, and he can be mad at me for a while. That's fine.
But are you not going to take a job? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think at some point I would hope that we would be able to have a conversation on the air or off the air and an airing of grievances. I don't know if there's some holiday that we could wait to do that on, but I would like to have an airing of grievances on the air. I would love to do it on the air, but on the air or off the air because, you know, it's real life and it's on the air, which is the best and the worst at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I certainly don't apologize for anything, but I don't have any ill will, and hopefully he'll not be mad at me forever. And if he is, then it's his prerogative. I get it. I'm not mad at him for being mad.
Right. No, well, you see, and that's what I like about. Like, I listen to both shows. So I mean, there are people out there that
I'm glad he's on the channel.
Like enjoy the shows. So it's just funny to me that it just seems like there's this. I was in broadcasting, I was in radio, so there's that, you know, the wall, the fourth wall, and you kind of, it just seems like there's more animosity on his point than you. I mean, you and Jim seem to be taking like a higher road, it seems like, and he's subtly throwing in these dates.
Well, my role model once told me, when they go low, we go high. And that, of course, was Melania Trump. All right, Biggs, I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, man.
But yeah, that's, I mean, you know, he can be mad. I get why he's upset about the whole situation, so I don't mind taking the brunt of things. It's what I've made a career doing at this point. I can't be mad at it. Speaking of guests that were in though, and speaking of what happened yesterday, Troy, we didn't get to talk about this because he was on at the end of the show. But you should, after we're done today, you should on demand yesterday's show because we had a couple great interviews. Alan Alda was amazing, but Anthony Michael Hall coming in here. And it slipped. I think it slipped. Here's my perspective on it. He's talking about movie directors and stuff. And I think there's a lot more to Anthony Michael Hall directly beneath the surface. I think if you went out to dinner with that guy, had a couple cocktails, had a meal with him, you could really get into some shit. I think he's got Hollywood theories. I think he's got conspiracy theories. I think his mind is running at full tilt. At 100 miles per hour. I think he's got theories on everything, and I would love to off air, because he knows, he's also been in the game long enough that he knows when he's on the air. I would love to pick his brain off the air and really, just for my own gratification. But yesterday when we were talking about directors, and he brings up Kubrick, and just out of the blue, he's like, yeah, Kubrick was great. He did The Shining in 2001 and the moon landing thing. And I was like, what? Because the only other time I had heard anything about the moon landing in Kubrick was when Troy came in, and it was really just a few weeks ago when Troy came in and he was like, Sam, man, You got to see this documentary. Every couple of weeks, Troy's good for you got to see this documentary. Like, he comes in and acts like he stumbled on something that the world needs to be aware of, and he doesn't really understand why everybody's not talking about this. It's like he's found breaking news. Like, yeah, I figured some shit out yesterday. And he told me about this documentary. It's like a full-length thing. It's like an hour and a half long on YouTube. And it breaks down that the theory is that Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing. Some people say that the moon landing was totally fake. Some people say there was a real moon landing, but the one that we saw on television was filmed by Stanley Kubrick because it had to look a certain way. They say it was based off of 2001 because he did such a good job. And they say that Stanley Kubrick has littered The Shining with references to it. And they give examples of everything. Now, there is the documentary Room 237, which is made up of all, like, multiple different theories. One theory is about the Nazi symbolism that's in The Shining. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. But it's not the first time space has come up. Troy, you had to be thrilled the minute that were you surprised when that came out of his mouth?
Yeah, because I was just listening and all of a sudden I heard that. I was just like, I quick turned and it was like, oh shit, we're going to go down this road.
When he goes to the moon landing thing.
It was so, like, offhanded and, like, nobody caught it at first. Like, Jim was like, yep.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And if Troy hadn't told me about the documentary a couple weeks ago, I would probably just let it go, being like, I don't know what he's talking about, but it's probably an old movie or something. Or maybe he did an interview that I don't know about. But he was literally saying that he believes, I think that at first Anthony Michael Hall was saying that he believes Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing, and then kind of eased back a little bit because he remembered he was on radio and let Troy handle the explanation.
Yeah, no, that was fine. Jim also asked him, are you into conspiracy? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, that was his response. Oh yeah, like it was an enthusiastic yes.
And I think that it may have sunk in, like, I better watch this because, you know, if you believe anything other than what has been told to you, you are a kook, you are a nut, and you know, you're just so quick to be dismissed of anything. So I think he realized, like, hey, I better ease up on this one. Which I get it.
Yeah, but it was really funny, I thought, to see. No, he's in. Did you feel like he was in 100%?
Yes.
If you had to guess?
Yeah, especially from that response.
Because we didn't talk to him much at all after the show. The conversations that we had with Anthony Michael Hall were on the air.
Yeah, and he had to leave quick, but right. I would love to have gone into that.
Yeah. We got to get him on, like, a late night radio show, like you know, like a Coast to Coast or something.
Yeah.
Because he'd probably, like, in a long form, stay there for 2 hours. It's midnight. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We're just getting him talking. Because I think he does believe that stuff. Do you believe that Stanley Kubrick filmed the moon landing?
You know, I don't know, man. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, there's a lot of evidence that says...
What makes more sense? That we went to the moon and filmed it, or that Stanley Kubrick filmed the fake moon landing to you? Like, if I said there's only two possibilities here. First, it's the full story. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong and the whole gang, they went up to the moon, they got a camera out, they filmed the moon landing, and the whole deal, one small step, yada, 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 happened. They filmed it. What you saw on TV was what they got on the moon. Or they did it in a recording studio and Stanley Kubrick did it.
Or they went to the moon.
Right.
They were actually there.
Right.
But to make sure, this is what the movie believes, to make sure that we could show the Russians that we were ahead of them in their space program, that we got somebody on the moon first. They wanted to make sure that video was there to show them that they went. So they may have gone, and that may not have been. I'm just throwing out another theory. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
But you ask questions.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know, it's interesting when you watch the documentary. You go, oh, you know what? It makes some interesting points.
I mean, technically, they were wearing spacesuits, right?
Yeah, but you can wear a spacesuit here.
Well, that means Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin might not have even been in the Kubrick spacesuits, right?
Right.
I mean, for all we know, Shelley Long and fucking Jack Nicholson were in there, right?
Yeah.
For all we know.
Just the documentary, it shows, you know, you know how when they're walking, you could see them bouncing, a little bit while they're walking. Well, they said, okay, now let's speed this up, like 100 and, 20% or something. It just looks like they're just walking around normal. And there's a lot of stuff like, where's the stars? And I'm sure everybody's going to call and be like, well, it was this, it was that. Okay, fine. It was an interesting, because there's always the flip side to everything. Nobody will just be like, oh, you know what? That's an interesting point.
Well, I mean, see, I think the annoyance that people get with you, though, is that they're coming back at you and they're presenting facts that say...
Yeah, but they're not facts. A lot of times they're not facts.
You sound like Neil deGrasse Tyson right now.
A lot of times they're just somebody will go online. So you moon landing conspiracy. Okay, look up what happened here. And then you could look up something else that proves your point. It's something that you believe is flipped opposite.
So you're saying that the source of the information does not convince you. Like if I say, well, I understand that you could find your point of view anywhere, but there's a big difference between a YouTube documentary and getting this official documentation. You're saying that for you, the official documentation is not something that you necessarily buy anyway, so the source doesn't matter.
Well, just to believe that we've never been lied to is it's just insane in this day of age.
I just believe that we've never been lied to by Kubrick.
Exactly.
I don't think he would do that.
Honestly, dude, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. All I'm saying about this documentary is it made some interesting points where you just kind of go, oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
Do you watch straight history documentaries?
A little bit.
Those are a little boring though, right?
Well,
they tend to be a little dry.
There's certain periods that are more interesting than others.
Right. Although you did go to the NASA museum. The legit NASA museum, like you were interested in that.
Well, I'm fast. I've loved space travel since I was a kid.
Did you want to be a spaceman growing up?
Sure, yeah.
Is that why you work at satellite radio? Because it's as close as you're going to get?
It's as close as I'm going to get, yeah. But, the whole deal with NASA is so interesting because after World War II, we took a lot of the top Nazi scientists.
And ideas.
Werner von Braun was he's the one that designed the rockets for the Nazis, and then we brought him over and he designed the rockets to get us into outer space.
Well, look, the thing about the Nazis was the social concepts were terrible. A lot of the fashion and technology was
fashion.
I'm just saying,
you like their fashion?
Well, aesthetically, it's not, it's been borrowed. It's inspired, things.
And that's another
Again,
thing.
the ideals, the social concepts, I'm against.
Yeah.
And I'll put that on the record right now. I'm against the Nazis. That's controversial. You are too?
Absolutely.
That must be why we get along.
But I think it's interesting.
Travis is pro-Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
Well, especially, I mean, he's got his own personal experience.
15 years ago, I would have had a different answer.
Of course. Let's go to, I'm assuming it's Jason in Texas, but it says J-So in Texas.
That's Anthony.
What's up, person in Texas?
Hey, yeah, it's Jason, S-O-N. There's about that moon landing documentary. There's a mockumentary that you can watch, and I apologize, I can't remember the name, and I'm driving, and I don't want to Google it. But basically, it was filmed after Kubrick passed away, and they interview Rumsfeld, they interview a bunch of NASA officials, they interview Kubrick's wife, and they talk about how they staged the filming and everything like that. And I stumbled upon it late one night.
It's a mockumentary, though?
Yeah, it's a mockumentary. I didn't know it. I was stoned out of my mind watching it. This is amazing. Wow, the truth is finally coming out. Donald Rumsfeld's telling everything, and then finally at the end of the movie, before the credits, they have a thing that pops up that says, don't believe everything that you see or read on TV or whatever.
But it's legit Donald Rumsfeld.
Yeah, he's in it.
So this is probably...
NASA officials, Kubrick's wife's in it. It's amazing.
This is probably the government coming together and grabbing Kubrick's wife and saying, you better be in on this too, and saying, we have to put out this piece of propaganda that says how ridiculous anything except the official story is. That way... what we're doing is we're discrediting. We're putting this mockumentary out to really, the punchline is that people who believe the things that Troy believes in are stupid.
Yeah, and you're an idiot for believing anything other than that. That blows my mind.
That's what I get from this documentary, that people who believe the things that you believe are morons.
But it just boggles my mind that we're in that world where if you do not believe the exact story that you've been told, you are you're a kook, you're un-American. You're not allowed to just be like, this is a little strange. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
The only thing I don't believe is the hype.
That's right.
Let's go to Gus in New York. What's up, Gus?
What up, Sammy?
How we doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Basically, I saw that documentary. I definitely believe 100% we went to the moon.
Okay.
But if you look at the evidence, the camera is the big thing. It's on their chest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the pictures and the quality of the pictures, and these guys are astronauts, not photographers, the pictures are just too good.
Did they have GoPro?
And
Did NASA? I know that we didn't as consumers. Did NASA have GoPro technology back then?
I'm not 100% sure.
Probably not.
No. And they didn't even have like a viewfinder on it. So like, that's like, forgetting about all the other stuff, the footprints, the pictures are just way too good of a quality to not have been staged. We went to the moon, but they filmed the landing on a set just to make it look real good. That's my opinion anyway.
I like that, Gus. Thank you. I love the idea that after all this talk and conspiracy theories and stuff, like, we had the technology to go to the moon, but what we had to trick people into thinking is that we have the technology to film it. like we don't have the technology. We can go to the moon, but we haven't figured out how to film it. So we have to trick the people to think that we have great cameras.
I'm not sure that was the point.
No?
I don't know. At this point, it's just there's so much information. And it's like in the Alien documentary that you and Jim, I had you and Jim watch.
I finished watching it.
Where they just put out so much garbage that you just get confused on what's really the truth and what's not.
On the extra features, did you buy it on iTunes?
I did. I haven't seen them yet, but I will.
Do you know what they are?
I think it's just an interview with Dr. Stephen Greer.
There's 10 minutes of UFO footage that's raw.
Yeah.
They do, how like when you do documentaries, they interview you and they just splice in sound bites?
Yeah.
They do the entire interview with the doctor, which is 3 hours long. And then they do the entire interview with that guy that Jim and me think is lying. The guy with the mustache? Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if I agree with why he's lying.
He's just kind of a turdy guy.
He's a turd.
And all his answers are all like just off a little bit. Like, how'd you pay? Cash. What? Yeah.
Yeah, but Jim brought up that point. But if you go back to the 60s, how else would you get paid? How else if there was a shady deal going on?
When did Venmo come out?
Like 5 years ago or 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, so it wouldn't have been that.
No PayPal.
Oh, no? Because PayPal's old.
So like when you showed up, I mean, look at all the old movies. You showed up with a briefcase.
Right.
So why is that a crazy theory to think that somebody would be like, pay somebody off?
It was also the little things. They were like, the alien had little tiny ear canals, and the guy was like, the aliens had no ears. And I was like, you'd remember the ears.
Okay, and you know that there's multiple species of aliens.
What? You think they're talking about two different landings? God
quite
damn.
possibly. Let me ask you. After that documentary, what are your feelings now on there being extraterrestrials
on the planet or in general?
Just that they exist.
I think there's aliens in the universe. I think we're not the only planet that has life on it.
And that documentary helped push you into that direction of thinking that.
Yes, and I see a clearer motivation to disguise alien technology. I was kind of like, we do rely on traditional, because look, I mean, for me, before this thing even happened, you look at what's happened with technology. You look at TVs, you look at iPhones, you look at the way technology builds and builds and builds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see that it builds exponentially.
Yes.
So we should be, with a lot of stuff, way further along than we are. That's cars, that's heating houses, that's all this stuff. Like the scientists that say we should be heating houses through this solar stuff, or there's this we could use, or water-powered cars, whatever it is. Like, we should be there. We should be almost to the point where we could see what it's going to look like when there are no cars. There's something else.
Yeah.
Like, we should be evolved because, we kind of went from the Model T, the horse and carriage, to the Model T, to the, 1950s car, and we haven't changed that much from the 50s. Like, we've changed, but not 65 years worth, right?
Still mostly relying on fossil fuels.
Precisely. And the only explanation on that for me is that there's money in fossil fuels and they don't want to change.
Yes.
That being something that I already think is true made me think, okay, if there is alien technology, that is a reason if alien technology existed, and you'd say, well, why wouldn't they just use it? That is a reason.
Yeah, that made perfect sense.
That is a reason that makes sense. I'm not saying that it's true, but right. I'm saying that if I came to you, that would be one of my questions. Okay, if we have all this technology, Why wouldn't we use it? Because we want to remain reliant on fossil fuels. Oh, yeah. I can buy that.
Now tie that into the stories of guys in the 70s who figured out were making electric cars in the 70s that were making cars that ran on water.
In the
70s.
Those guys disappeared. We don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, all of a sudden those guys just weren't there anymore.
We don't know about those guys. No, they retired. They quit. They're in Florida.
It's like, you hear that stuff and you're like, how is this not possible?
Right. Let's go to Dustin in Ohio. What's up, Dustin?
What's up, Chip Killer?
How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, man. How about yourself? Congrats on the baby and
oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Hey, going backwards here, I was kind of taking notes. Look, these are facts I'm going to give to you.
Okay.
For you guys and everybody listening, this is facts.
I love facts.
In the 70s, Chevy already had a car that ran on water.
What?
Okay. They ran on water and they killed the technology. That's a fact. Secondly, as far as the moon goes, you guys were talking about advancement in electronics and technology overall, okay?
Right.
Ponder this for a second. Back in the 60s when they went to the moon, okay. How far away is the moon? It's 237,000 miles.
It was way further than I thought.
Okay. So how did they communicate back and forth when in 2017 we still had dead spots for cell phones in downtown Manhattan?
They had a hell of a string on those two cans.
Exactly. That's my point. So how did it happen? I'm not
intercom.
What's that?
Intercom system.
Well, come on, 237,000 miles.
I don't know how. Thank you, Dustin. I get what you're saying. I think that we are able to communicate with the moon. I think that technology's been there. I mean, they had telephones back then. I understand it was on wires and stuff, but I think that the communication is there. I think we went to the moon, but
I do too.
Yeah,
I do. I absolutely believe that we're in the moon, and I believe that there are possibly structures on the moon there's always pictures of the moon, and you see like pictures of the moon from 50 years ago. A lot of the weird things that are on the moon have been airbrushed out. So there's a lot of people that believe that they're hiding some sort of structures on the moon.
Maybe they're trying to smooth it out. You know what I mean? Like they do for celebrities. It's possible too, right?
Yeah,
you don't know.
Can't discredit anything at this point.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You want to call? It's 866-969-1969. I've been kind of obsessed with the Mike and Mike breakup, the sports radio show. Have you been following that drama, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, as much as it's been made public, yeah.
Right. Like, I don't listen to the show at all. I've literally never heard Mike and Mike show.
I'm usually busy when it's on.
Is it on in the morning?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Listening to God knows what in those headphones. But like Mike and Mike has been on the radio for a long, long time. They're probably, under Mike and the Mad Dog, the most famous sports radio duo there is, right? Or am I crazy?
I would have to think about that, but off the top of my head, yeah, because I mean they're on ESPN.
Right. And I say that because I know Mike and Mike. I mean, Boomer and Carton is just famous locally, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I don't think they're syndicated.
Right. So, like, I know Mike and Mike. You talk about Mike and Mike, and you talk about Mike and the Mad Dog. But Mike and Mike is doing one of the weirdest things I've ever seen done in radio. It just doesn't happen that often, where they're announcing now that the show is going to end in December.
Yeah.
So they're going to finish out the year together, but the show is going to end. Do we have the video? It was sent out. It might be in this article. It was sent out earlier this week. There it is. This is the video of them announcing that they're leaving. First, it made. I hope that should Sirius ever. What the fuck was that? The fatter Mike with the. Oh, he's doing the Kardashian thing. What a weirdo. I hope that should Sirius ever let me go, I'm old enough that my kid is able to send nasty tweets to them. Because one of the Mikes, little kid,
I saw that,
was sending nasty tweets to ESPN saying, "You guys are fucking idiots. Why would you take this show apart?" Da 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 da. And it was his son. Which, I mean, to have that kind of support from your kid, I would have to imagine that by the time my child is able to communicate at all, he's going to think that this show's stupid. You know what I mean? He's not going to care what I've got going on.
No.
But the fact that Mike's kid is one of the Mike's kids is of tweeting age, and he's sending nasty tweets to @ESPN is just incredible. Incredible. So Mike and Mike go on ESPN radio, and this is how they announced that they're ending the show as of December.
You have probably heard by now, we announced yesterday something that had become the worst kept secret in the entire world.
Oh, yeah.
And that is that at some point toward the end of this year, we're going to bring an end to what will at that point have been an 18-year run for the two of us doing the show together. We will have plenty of time to talk about that over the rest of the year. To be clear, for those of you who didn't hear the announcements yesterday, neither of us is leaving ESPN. In fact, we will both still be here with you every single morning, just doing different shows going forward. For me and what I'm going to be doing, I'll have plenty of time to talk about that as we get closer to the day. For today, all I wanted to say is that this experience has been by far...
So the Mike that's talking now is going to be on ESPN television.
Is that the skinnier one?
Right.
The one that looks like he should be on television?
The good-looking Mike is moving on to ESPN TV.
So, yeah, you're right about that.
And the radio-looking Mike is staying on this radio show.
Correct. And
yeah.
Anthony is telling me that the son who is tweeting is also going to have a show on ESPN. With his father.
Oh, that's right. So the radio-looking Mike is staying on exactly where he is. He's getting a new co-host, and they're bringing in his son. So why is his son tweeting ESPN? Why would you fuck up your gig?
I don't know.
Just let those two break up. So you can.
Am I allowed to tweet that you guys are idiots now?
What?
Like, why would you say that?
No, worm your way into your dad's show. Like, shut your mouth.
Maybe it's a different son, and Anthony's just stupid.
That'd be funny if it was a different son, and his older brother is like, shut the fuck up. What are you doing? I'm about to get this gig. Like, people don't understand. I think sports radio is probably the best job you could have because it's not going anywhere. It's the only radio that's talk and that's going to stay alive. It's personality based. So as a host, you can actually command a certain income.
Yeah, there's always going to be new content to talk about.
You don't have to do any of the content.
And
you just
people are always going to want to talk about sports.
Always. It's the one. Sports is literally the only thing that's keeping television alive. If there was no sports, if people were not interested in sports, live TV would be dead. It would all be, Roku's and
it's going that way.
All
anyway.
that stuff. It because of MLB Network and stuff like that.
Not just that, but you can. There's live streaming NFL games on Twitter. There's one baseball game a day that live streams on Yahoo.
Oh yeah. You wait until you know what the death bell is going to be.
What's that?
When Facebook signs the rights to air Super Bowl.
I think Facebook has streaming games as well, but yeah, I mean it's coming eventually.
When Facebook when the Super Bowl is aired exclusively on Facebook, television's dead. But even when television is dead, there's still going to be sports radio because we're going to still be relying on fossil fuels, which means we're still going to be driving in our cars, which means we're still going to need a radio, which means we still need to listen to some blowhard talking about how a coach doesn't know how to do his job or something.
Sports Pope?
Yeah, we're still going to need the Pope. All right, go on with Mike and Mike.
The best thing that has ever happened to me in my professional life. I don't expect anything I ever do to be this much fun again, and I will be grateful for it for the rest of my life. Again, we have weeks and months to continue talking about this, so I don't think that there's any reason to go more deeply into it than that, but that was the first and foremost thought on my mind today. Mike, I don't know.
Yeah, listen, this has been the worst kept secret for a long time. The last year and a half have been somewhat interesting, if not eyebrow raising as well.
By the way,
for me, it's not.
If this radio, the guy who's staying on the radio and not moving on to TV, if he wants to move on to TV, maybe don't show up to your televised radio show in your fucking workout clothes, The other guy is like, he's in shape, he's wearing like a button-down shirt. This other Mike, the radio Mike, is wearing his Hammer Strength long sleeve. Like,
looks like a schlub.
He looks like a schlub, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I thought so too.
My story to tell. I'm going to continue doing this exact same show. It's for others to tell who made this decision and if they want to tell it and how they want to tell it. So not my story to tell. So basically, as Greeny said, this show will go on for a while. We don't know how long into this year. And then as I start a new show with Trey Wingo, who I've known for years, I've done football with since 2000.
And then they go on, and he talks about what he's going to do next.
By the way, Anthony's an idiot.
He is, right?
Yeah.
Why?
His older son, Mike Jr., is the one that's going to be on the show.
Right.
Jake is not. on it. Jake's tweeting. And he has nothing to do with the show.
So the younger brother was the one tweeting. Mm-hmm. Well, the younger brother's just pissed because ESPN didn't give both brothers a job.
Exactly.
I know sports too. Why does Mike Jr. get everything? He can't talk about sports. His opinions are stupid.
Yeah, he's the middle child.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
I was a middle child. I'd be so pissed if my sister was like going on to my dad's radio show and they're like, well, I'm like, what about me? I'm like, just stay home. Just keep tweeting. ESPN, you are stupid. My brother stinks. But as soon as this clip came out, I have never listened to this show, but just watching the dynamic of the two, it is so obvious to me. The first article that came out about this, they were saying, well, Radio Mike is blaming ESPN for the breakup. At first they were like, well, the show isn't at fault for the breakup. ESPN is just doing it. And that's why the kid's mad, and that's why Radio Mike is saying it's out of my hands, it's somebody else's decision. That's not true. I watched this clip, and immediately I was like, incorrect. The other Mike is 100% leaving the show of his own volition. He goes in, he says, hey, I want to do TV. I want to be one of the ESPN anchors. I want to be Stephen A. Smith. I want to be whoever. You know what I mean? I want to be an on-air television personality. I don't even know the difference anymore because all these radio shows are on TV, but I guess there is a difference between being an on-air anchor, TV personality, ESPN guy, and a radio show that's on TV. I guess there's a difference. Is that? You watch ESPN, Travis. Is there?
I don't know. He probably just wants to be a figurehead and do his own thing. But you're absolutely right.
He wants to go off.
Greenberg's
and do TV.
The one that's done.
Yes,
and
he's the good-looking one.
Yeah. And it's not like ESPN's breaking up the show.
No,
because they're keeping the yeah. guy. So why would they break up a very highly rated, successful show?
It's super,
for no reason.
It's super successful.
Yeah.
And the Radio Mike, even though a good-looking Mike is going to ESPN and going like, guys, you need to look like this is your decision. I don't want to take the heat on this one. Just you need to tell. But not as good-looking Mike, that I'm leaving the show and that you guys want to move me to the TV side because, I don't want to have that conversation. I'm very non-confrontational.
I'll tell him I don't want to do it, but I got to do what the bosses say.
Yeah. And then Radio Mike is going like, you asshole. Like, I know exactly what's going on. I know exactly what you're doing. This is not ESPN's decision. Now, apparently I was right because the newest news articles say that these two are not even talking to each other anymore. That these two do not talk, that they pretend to have chemistry on the air, and they hate each other. And the staffers are, I guess, reporting to the Daily News and stuff about it, which I think is so funny.
I find that hard to believe.
What, that they don't like each other?
Yeah.
Why?
It never happens in radio.
No. Are you just? How long do you think it takes before Jim and me don't speak to each other off the air?
Another year.
You think so?
No. No, it'll be a while.
Yeah. We'll make it through this contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But it happens.
Yes, because people grow creatively. What people want to do changes, and you know that you can do something well with a partner. So I'm sure at some point you're like, I want to prove that I can do this on my own. I want to do something different. I don't want to keep retreading. Whereas the other partner's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just stay. Just collect the checks. We're just talking about sports.
And not only that, but the not talking off the air.
Yeah.
That's not surprising. Like, they talk to each other every day.
Yeah.
For 4 to 5 hours a day. I don't know how long their show is, but it's between 3 and 5, let's say. And you don't want to talk to that person afterwards.
It's never a news story when a couple that's been married for 40 years barely talks to each other. It's not like, oh my God, they barely talk to each other. It's like, yeah, they live together.
It's seen as sweet because they just have each other.
Right. They just know.
Yeah.
They just know. Yeah. They speak without speaking.
Whereas on the radio, it's like, oh my God, they don't talk to each other after the show?
Mike and Mike speak without speaking after the show.
Yeah.
They're a married couple.
Yeah. And a lot of times with guys like this, the fans probably get in their heads and say, you're the talented one and the other guy sucks.
Yeah.
You're the one that's the brains behind the show.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then he's like, that's right. That's right. And of course, you're going to let your ego build up. But you'll ignore all the tweets and stuff that say, like, you suck, the other one's better. Well, that guy's an idiot. You're better, the other one sucks. Oh, that guy's smart. See? Yeah, see? I knew it. See? Let's go to Charles in West Virginia. What's up, Charles?
Hey, Hey, Sam, I like your sidekick in there. I like your show today.
Thanks, buddy.
Good.
That's Troy Kwan.
Hey, and
And Travis.
Congratulations on your baby. Yeah,
Thank you.
Travis. Yeah, I like Travis. Hey,
Sorry, Troy.
Oh. Hey, congratulations on the new baby, too.
Thank you.
I heard you talk about that a couple months ago.
Thanks,
hey,
pal.
I agree with you. It sounds like the radio mic. And by the way, there's shows on TV every day anyways. It's not, what do you say when you tape a radio show? You're on ESPN every morning anyway, so I don't know what the deal is.
I don't
but
either.
anyway, it sounds like the radio mic is pissed with the television mic. But he says, I'll let somebody else say what happened. But we're gonna keep in contact with that show and watch. Maybe something will happen before the year and a half is up.
Yeah,
they're not talking now. I thought those guys got along. It's pretty funny to hear them. They don't talk.
Yeah, they say they don't talk, and I tell you, this is the first time I've ever been interested in the show. Like, I'm absolutely going to keep tabs on everything that's going on with Mike and Mike, because this is drama to the fullest extent. It's great. Andy in Georgia, what's up, pal?
Hey, buddy. ESPN really fucked this up. They announced these two were going to move to Times Square and do a show before renegotiating their contract. Then they couldn't get the deal done, and then TV Mike goes and gets a $6.5 million contract, and Radio Mike gets fucked.
Oh, so TV Mike gets a lot more money because it's TV?
Yeah, well, he got a second contract that the Radio Mike didn't get because they didn't negotiate their contracts together.
Oh, I see.
Opie was a really, really smart dude for the way he handled all that bullshit.
And what? I didn't hear what the last thing he said was. Yeah, I think that Radio Mike feels slighted by it. It sounds like that.
Yeah, that caller's right. Years ago, ESPN announced that they were going to move the show because they do the show in Bristol.
Oh, I see.
And they said, we're going to move Mike and Mike to New York, guests and a new studio and everything like that. And then for some reason, it's never been publicly said. Maybe ESPN just didn't want to spend the money. Maybe Disney didn't want to spend the money. Maybe they just didn't want to move to New York. It just never happened.
That'd be so. I would, unless they really want to move to New York, which is crazy.
They would want to.
Yeah, because Bristol, there is nothing going on in Bristol, and it's way far up in Connecticut.
Yeah,
but
I'm guessing, knowing Disney and ESPN, they chopped that right off the budget.
That would piss me off. Maybe that's why the other Mike is leaving. That would piss me off if it was like dangled in front of me. And then it was just like, no, actually, we're not.
Not only dangled, it was publicly announced. Right. We're moving them to New York.
Plus, it makes the show seem stupid. Like, if the show is out there in the press as like, we're moving to New York, and then it just doesn't happen, it doesn't look good for the show.
No, not at all.
Frank in the Bronx, what's up, buddy?
What's up, Sam?
How you doing?
No, it's interesting. It's interesting how that happens. It's similar to what the dog, right? Those guys were like 2 years they didn't talk.
Mike and the Mad Dog, at least. I mean, I don't know. I'm really anxious for that 30 for 30 on Mike and the Mad Dog because I want to find out. I want to find out how bad it got and how quick it got bad.
And your point around, people that are married for so long, that's that old joke where you pass each other in the hallway and say "fuck you" to each other. But you're right, because that's the way it is. It's just crazy, but because they're in front of a mic or at least visible on some sort of a TV. I think the whole market's changing. Look at ESPN. They're getting rid of all their people. They're losing dollars and subscribers on a daily basis. Content is everywhere, but now people don't know how to monetize it, right? Like, you got all those blogs and everyone has their own show and all that crap, but how do you monetize it? And I think that's why the whole industry is getting turned upside down. That's why a guy like you can continue, because you were the last, let me see if I can remember. The last of the professional broadcast.
That's right. I'm the last professional broadcaster. No more after me.
I think one thing you got to listen to is somebody took a jab at you yesterday on that.
No, I talked about it. I talked about it earlier, Frank.
All right.
Yep.
Just
I
want to
addressed
let you know, bro. I love you.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. John in North Carolina, before we go to break.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know, Jim, you're the smart one. Sam, you suck.
All right. Well,
Jim Show.
You know who's the smart one?
Yes.
The guy who calls up and talks to Jim, who is in Europe.
I'm a dummy.
Yeah, you've been on hold for a while, and Jim is not here.
Yeah. Well, just tell him I said He's a smart one.
Okay, I will. I'll let him know. Thank you, John.
Not only that, but you can hear the show online. So at some point, he's got to think like, I haven't heard Jim.
Yeah, exactly. We've only been on for 2 hours, though, so maybe Jim is just biding his time. Well, we do have to take a break because Michael Kelly's coming in. He plays Stamper on House of Cards. I'm very, very excited to talk to him. We've also got the cast from The Play That Goes Wrong coming in today. A lot to do this morning. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Jim Norton and Sam Roberts. Yeah, bring him in. I'm so excited about this one. Michael Kelly's coming in, making his way into the studio.
How are you?
Look at you smiling, seeming all friendly. I mean, it's very, very different. We're all very excited. Very excited. Are you surprised? Is this one of the first roles that you've had? Of course, I'm talking about as Stamper, that people are like, holy shit, Stamper's coming in.
Yeah, because I think everybody just thinks that I'm like, they're just like, I don't know if I want to be around that dude.
I will tell you, Troy, who watches the show as well, was looking at you through the glass, and he's like, I don't know, man. There's something creepy about him. I don't know. I'm really getting creeped out right now. I don't know if we should do this or not. You couldn't have possibly known, because the thing about House of Cards, now, when somebody gets a Netflix show, it's like a no-brainer. Like, yeah, Netflix, they're the kings of TV.
Right.
When House of Cards came out, it was like, Netflix, this is just on Netflix? Like,
Yeah.
Netflix, like, that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, no, I was like, I just didn't know what to expect. It was where you got your DVDs. I mean, they were doing some streaming, some old stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. Netflix was like, it was like old movies and
Right.
but it wasn't this like spot for original content.
No, I mean, and when you really think about it, like what they've accomplished in just, House of Cards has only been, we were the first original content, and here we are 4.5 years later, 5 years later, and how they were able to change that landscape of.
Isn't it crazy? Because I remember doing interviews with some of the cast before the first season, and like the topic was like, wait. All the episodes are coming out at once? Like, it's such like, are you guys crazy?
I remember asking Peter Freelander, I was like, from Netflix, they were there for lunch one day, he and the PR department, and I was just like, are you guys really going to put all 13 of these out at once? And they were like, yeah. I was like, you don't want to do like 7 and then 6? And they're like, no, man, this is how people want to consume content now. And, they obviously know a lot more than I do.
Yeah, they were right. I would have thought that you were. I'd be like, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. What has your life been like, especially now that the show has gotten so popular? Because, you walk down the street and it's not like you're not in a suit.
Yeah.
But you still you look like Stamper. You know what I mean? Like,
it completely changed my life. I mean, and all for the better. I feel very fortunate. It's crazy. I walk down the street now and, some people reserve reactions, but for the most part, people are like, holy shit, Stamper. Like guys, especially guys, are just like, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you almost changed my vocabulary. Like, I remember I talked to some of the guys around here, like, I'm looking for a Stamper. Like, I'm not just looking for a producer for this show, okay? One of you guys is coming with me all the way. Exactly. But you're going to need to take care of some stuff for me.
Got to deal with some shit.
Right. That's all there is to it. Have you gotten any House of Cards scripts that you've been like, we're going that dark, huh?
Every single season. And I'm not kidding. Like, and it's, even my character, every year I'm surprised. And you would think 5 years in now that I wouldn't be shocked anymore. But every season I'm just like, wait, what? I'm gonna what?
Yeah.
But then when you talk about it with the writers and previously Bo Willimon, it was. They understand this world, and I've grown to understand it more, but I'm still every year.
Shocked. And do you have to, was it something that they wanted you to get in shape for, or do you keep yourself in pretty good shape?
I do. I mean, my wife is a personal trainer.
So that helps.
Yeah, it helps. And I was a runner in high school and college. I ran for my school, Coastal Carolina, and it was, I think if you start with that metabolism in life, it's easier to carry it on.
I also, though, I think that there is when you have established that you are a guy who's probably pretty creepy, and you're wearing a suit, if you're an in-shape guy under your suit and you're already creepy, it's like, holy shit, watch out for this guy.
That's kind of threatening.
Yeah. This is not good. This is not good. Man, so how's Kevin Spacey to work with?
He is honestly, I mean...
Is it intimidating?
In the beginning, of course, it was crazy intimidating. I mean, it was a guy who I had looked up to as an actor for so long. Someone who I admired his work, just one of the best doing it, right? And I was like, scared to death in the beginning. David Fincher and Robin Wright and Kevin Spacey, but it was such an opening environment, and everybody really came ready to do the best work that they could do. So, I just came prepared, and I just came to work, and I worked, and I kept my distance, and it took about 2 years before Kevin and I, 2 full seasons before we started to, he's a very private man, so before he was opened up a little bit and
really
pulled me into his world, and now we're very close, and we hang, and but yeah, it was scary as hell at first. I was really,
So what do you suppose that is? Do you think it's because he does so much? And obviously, the thing about Kevin Spacey is, and I think that maybe just happens when you're anyone that's skilled on the level that he is. I think, especially people that are in your profession, want to get to know you. You want to be Kevin Spacey's friend. He must encounter that a lot. So do you think it's just when he's on these projects, if they're not going to last a long time, he doesn't want to make these relationships that aren't real?
Yeah, and he also knew House of Cards world, right? Like, this guy might be gone at the end of the season. Am I really going to bother getting close to him? No, yeah, I think that is exactly it. Like, you're Kevin Spacey. Everyone wants to know and say they hung out with Kevin Spacey or did something with Kevin Spacey. So, for his own, like, I am starting to understand that mentality. Like, you have so many friends from so many different projects, you can't keep those relationships going forever.
Right.
There's few people that you keep in touch with from everything that you do, but the more you work as an actor, that group of people grows and grows and grows, and which leaves you less time in your personal life for the things you care about.
And it kind of must water down the individual relationships, right? As the amount of relationships grow, you still only have so much bandwidth.
Right.
So it's like,
And then you get married, and then you have kids, and it's just like, oh God, I don't have any time left.
How old are your kids?
They'll be in June 8 and 5.
They are not watching the program.
No. The only thing that they've watched of House of Cards is the brief moments they were on the show. They actually played in season 3. They were my niece and nephew who came to visit.
Oh, that's great.
And that was just a fluke. They were going to be a picture on the refrigerator, and Bo Willimon was like, the more I think about it, I might want them to visit. Because some things just sort of organically happen on the show, and they write it in. And he was like, are you cool with that? And I was like, well, yeah, sure. And he's like, you want to maybe ask your wife? And I was like, yeah, I'll get back to you on that. So
cooler heads prevailed again.
Exactly. So that's how that went down. So that they got to watch that, but it was funny when my daughter and son watched it, because they shot for a whole day, a full long day. And when my daughter saw it, she was like, that's it? She was like, I did a lot more than that. And she's like, nope, that's what you did.
She got her first show business lesson real quick, huh?
See how hard dad works.
Did they like being on TV?
My daughter very much. My son was young at the time, but my daughter now, she wants to be an actor.
Of course. Does that scare you, or do you like that? It does, right?
Totally. I'm like,
don't you understand?
No, you don't.
Yeah. I only like this business now because I'm on a show. Exactly. Do you know how long it took to get here?
Exactly. I was 30 before I made a living.
Yeah. I was tortured all the years before that. But if it's something that she actually wants to pursue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to it. We're not going to be, we're not going to take her around to auditions and stuff. But if she wants to get in it the right way and do school plays and that kind of thing, and shows that this is really what she wants to do, it's a conversation for down the road. But I'm not going to go taking her around, to movie and commercial auditions and stuff. I think that's a full-time job in and of itself. And my wife's got it hard enough with me gone all the time.
Plus, you don't want to be the guy who's on the set going like, well, what if Stamper's niece actually takes on a more prominent role? Like, what's he doing? What's he? Totally. We actually have to kill off Stamper.
She's got to earn her keep, man. The kids have got to work.
What does your wife think of the show?
She loves it. We actually are both, I'm very proud to be on a show that I'm actually a fan of the show.
Do you watch it?
I do. Yeah, we watch it. And I wait. I can get them, especially during these press weeks, I can get them and watch them so I know a little bit more about, just to refresh your memory of what to talk about. But I wait, and I watch it. I watch it with her.
Are you looking forward to this season?
Yeah, very much.
You are?
Yeah. It's crazy. It's always crazy.
Does it, because we're now 5 seasons deep, so people obviously have their favorites, and I think it felt like the fans were like, season 1 and 2 were amazing, season 3, they were
crazy.
Like, yeah. Do you feel like any one season is better, or are you just kind of riding this wave?
I mean, I'm riding it. You know, I loved 4. I thought 4 was one of the best seasons. 3 was interesting because, and, you know, unfortunately it was my huge storyline season, the recovery thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting in that Bo Willimon was like, look, I can have you guys twirl your mustaches forever. I can write that, and the audience loves it and eats it up. He's like, but I want to see what happens when these characters fail. And to watch these characters go through what they went through in season 3 and literally fail for almost the entire season, it made then season 4 all the more interesting. You know, I think, like Bo said, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and again, it's going to get boring for the audience. Right. So, and you have to take risks as artists, as writers, as actors. You have to be scared. If you're scared, then you're doing the right thing, you know?
Yeah.
And which is good, because I live my life in fear when I'm acting, so that's a good thing for me.
Do you still get nervous?
All the time, man.
Do you?
Yeah, all the time. Especially when I'm starting a new job, or taking on a new character. You know, every season I try to do something, cool project. And every time, you know, I'm like, all right, if I get through 3 days, I probably won't get fired.
Yeah. So you still have that, cause I know, I mean, I feel it all the time, that feeling of like, oh, they're going to figure out I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, totally. Every time I get a job, I'm like, pulled the wool over their eyes again. Got them.
Yeah. People have come on the show and been like, I can't believe they pay you to do that. And I'm like, do not tell them that they pay me to do this. There's no way they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's like, okay, we have a contract. Okay, great. All right, cool. We're ready to go.
But even as an actor with a contract, it really doesn't mean,
because they can cancel episodes.
They can kill you. They can cancel episodes.
Yeah.
You know,
when they started killing people on the show, did it restart the nerves going? Especially, I mean, at this point, it's season 2. It was years ago, but without spoiling anything, the death at the beginning of season 2,
right,
kind of let everybody know that this is like Sopranos, like nobody's safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe. You know, it really is that. And I'll be honest, every script that I read, when I get to the last page, I'm like, whew, made it. Get to the end of the season, and you're like, yeah, right on, man, I'm coming back. You know, it's you feel that. And I don't know if it's those insecurities from being your early years as an actor, where it's just so hard to even get an audition to get a job. That I don't think you ever let go of it as an actor.
As an actor, do you worry about, how do I maintain this? Like, I'm in this good spot right now. How do I maintain? Or do you have to shut that part of your brain off and go day to day?
It's always in the back of your mind.
The maintaining?
Yeah, of course, because we've all seen so many actors, you know, come to prominence and then just sort of fade away or literally drop off, you know, whether they drop out or stop doing it or what have you. So it's always something, you know, the next thing that you do is always so important.
Right.
To keep that momentum going. It's why every offseason I've always tried to, with my guys, you know, figure out whether it's a director or it's a script, there's got to be something really compelling. And I've tried to not ever do a job for the money, you know, which I think is very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And it's nice to have something like this where it enables you to not feel like you have to do a job for the money.
Right.
How do you, because you're a politically active person, like I read your tweets and stuff like that, but I was like, it perplexed me because I feel like just watching the show, I've like lost faith in the political system because I'm like, no, you know what? That makes sense that it works that way, like it's portrayed on House of Cards, not like it's portrayed on the news.
Yeah.
How do you manage that as a person who's actually on the show? And like you said, like when crazy shit is happening on the show, you kind of have to just allow the showrunners to be like, no, this is what goes on. And like, that's not, I find it odd that like somebody who has become so familiar with the seedy side of that world is still, you know, optimistic enough.
Well, look, there is a lot of great things that happen in Washington, D.C. There's a lot of bipartisan issues. I go and actually lobby on the Hill for seniors, for the Older Americans Act. And when I go there and I can get bipartisan support from congressmen and women and senators across both sides of the aisle who say, yeah, seniors are important. 2030, 1 in 5 of us are going to be seniors. That's an issue we can all rally behind. Mm-hmm. And it's nice to see, you know, like take the budget, for example, that's come out now. You've actually got Democrats and Republicans saying, this is crazy. You cannot cut money from education. Like, so there are things that they can get behind, but as a country and as the parties, we have become too divided. Like, this is unprecedented on how divided we are as a country right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, if I can find something that we can agree on, then there's something good in that.
So that's what you're doing. You're like finding spots that, like, just as a human, like, there is no political interest here. Just as a person, let's take a look at this, and here's your solution.
Right. Unfortunately, I think that right now, excuse me, that there are things happening that the Republicans are just okaying right now because they can get through other parts of their agenda. We can push this through if we say yes to this, but some of these things are just too harmful. It's too long term. We can't ignore the environment. We can't ignore children in our country and senior citizens. It's like, common sense says these things.
There's also the thing of, I think that if a powerful Democrat, throws their support behind it first, that's going to make a Republican be like, well, no, then we're not doing it then. And you're like, well, you agree with it though.
I know. It's like my dream of there actually being a candidate. When I remember asking Mike Bloomberg to please run for president a couple correspondence dinners ago, and he was like, why? And I was like, because I think you can win. And he was like, I think I'd be the first person to get one vote. But there is a man who could have run as an independent and maybe even won as an independent, in my opinion. And
especially based on this last,
that's what we need right now. We need someone to come in there and be like, okay, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. Here's an issue. What do you guys think? And have people just vote on what their heart says rather than what their party line says.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think most people are in agreement, especially the people who voted for Donald Trump, that the main reason, or one of the main reasons that Donald Trump won the election, was because people are fed up with the system.
Right.
Which, you're right, would seem like it's the perfect time for an independent who can come in and actually disrupt the system in a productive way.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's the money, right? I mean, it's all about the money, and you need that political party behind you to even be remotely successful.
Which is why it has to be Bloomberg, somebody who's got all the money in the world.
Be like, I'll pay for it.
Money, I have money. Is the craziness that is that our political system has become in real life, is that reflected in the new season of House of Cards? Like, is the show having to kind of adapt to what we now watch on television, which is very different from what we were watching 2 years ago?
Yeah, no.
In terms of news.
Right. And we were, House of Cards was so different from the previous administration. And the current administration, you're kind of like, well, but at the same time, like, we've never been a show that tears from the headlines. It's not Law and Order where we read a story and go, oh, let's use that. You know? And we write these, the writers write these things a year before anyone ever sees them, right? So we never are taking from or being influenced by what happens in the world. Inevitably, something always does happen on our show that does happen in real life. And in this season, it was inevitable because we were filming an election during the election.
Right.
So there are going to be comparisons drawn, but we never write for what's happening.
Do you think, and you're not a writer, but do you think there's these writers are going, well, we need to make it, like, people watch the show because what crazy thing is going to happen in this world that's still believable? And then we're going, well, the craziest stuff is happening on TV. We need to have stuff on the show that people are still like, wow,
that's
not
crazy.
Like, yeah. If I turn on Fox News, I got, like, it's way crazier on MSNBC right now, or whatever it is. Do you think, is that a consideration?
No, I don't think they take it into consideration. And I do think that our world that we create, I mean, this season it gets really crazy.
That's great.
Yeah. So it's, I don't think it's a concern of theirs. I mean, I can't speak for them, but I can't imagine it being really a concern of theirs because Frank and Claire and Doug, I mean, we do crazy shit.
Yes.
The cool thing is I think people can tune in this season and be like, whether they can't get enough of politics, okay, cool, you're going to get more of it. But our show's about power anyway. So really it's an escape, if you want it as an escape from the current political climate in this country. Go check out the show that has zero repercussions when a president does something crazy.
Right. And what's great, what's so smart, I think, about the way the show is written is that it has nothing to do with party line. It's not a liberal Hollywood show.
Right.
It's not a Republican show. It doesn't matter what part. It's just all politicians are power hungry, and that's kind of the theme of what we're watching.
Yeah.
Is it based on the Clintons? People say that Claire and Frank are based on Bill and Hillary. That's what a lot of people have said.
No, God, no. I've no, definitely. I would never say that to the former president and first lady.
Because you're a big Bill Clinton fan, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, because that's what when I read that, I was like, huh. Because people that's the comparison that people draw.
Yeah, I was a big Hillary supporter from the get-go as well. I was, I love Bernie Sanders. I love a lot of what he stands for, and I believe his voice is so powerful and strong and important and needed right now. But for me, I was just thinking of it from what I wanted the government to accomplish. And I know how hard the President Obama had it with a Republican House and Senate. And I just was like, what is Bernie going to get done with the Republican House and Senate? It doesn't even matter what the man said. They would just say no, you know. Whereas, President Bill Clinton passed 5 balanced budgets with a Republican House and Senate. I believe that Hillary Clinton had the same ability to cross those party lines and sort of what we were talking about before about bringing these two parties closer together.
Were you shocked when Donald Trump won?
Utterly.
Yeah.
I watched it with Nev. We were in Baltimore, and we both just sat there as the states came and just like, no, oh my God. Because I had been speaking publicly. I was like, Donald Trump, during the primaries, I said, this is a great example of how an American can truly achieve anything. You can set your goals and do anything in this country. It's a great example. But he doesn't have any political experience, and he had no military experience. And there's a reason that unwritten rule exists, that you need those things to succeed as a president. So it's a great example of what one can accomplish in our country. But at the same time, he's going to fall by the wayside. Those other people with experience are going to beat him. And then he won that. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. But then I was like, okay, the country is going to come to their senses and realize that they need someone who, but
the experience was the factor for you. Well, I mean, and I believe that because, it sounds like you might have agreed with a lot of the stuff that Bernie was saying, but it's that experience that Hillary and Bill obviously both have that would have enabled her to get things passed.
Well, I don't want to say it's just experience because that Bernie's had the experience. He's been there forever. This is a great man who's done great things, and we agree on a lot of the senior issues that I work on. So I have the utmost respect for him. I just thought that she had the ability to pull the two parties together.
Gotcha.
More than push us further apart.
Right.
Which we ended up doing anyways.
Well, I have to let you go. I could talk to you for another hour, but
I sound so soft too. I'm just like, what am I talking about? Wait, I got to be Doug for a minute. No, but thank you.
No, please don't. I don't know. Somebody won't make it out of this studio if that happens. House of Cards Season 5 is available exclusively on Netflix on Tuesday, which is a brilliant choice because if you haven't seen any of it, if you've only seen the first 2 seasons, whatever you haven't seen, you've now got the long weekend.
The weekend to binge it. Yeah.
To binge it. And then once you binge the rest of the seasons, you're probably going to end up just staying up all night on Tuesday and watching Season 5 as you start tweeting Michael Kelly saying, when is Season 6 coming out? Do we know? Is there Season 6?
No, they haven't announced if they're even going to do one. So
do you want to?
I'd do it for as long as they want me to.
I would imagine that's the right answer.
No, but I mean, I literally have... I love my job.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I would think you were nuts if you said anything else.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. We'll talk about it.
I really want to do new things. Oh, do you not get this? Thanks for coming in, man.
My pleasure, man.
And
thanks for having me.
We'll take a break and be right back. No Jim, just Sam. Welcome back to the show. Jim is in Europe. He's performing over there. He had his obnoxious videos up of him traveling in first class. How great was Michael Kelly, huh? Really, if you haven't seen House of Cards, you have to. You will fucking lose your minds at this character. He's great. He's great. So yeah, welcome back. Tomorrow we'll be playing the live event that we did a couple months back from the Village Underground. So that'll be on tomorrow morning, and then we're taking a week off. I think right now, we have the cast of a play coming in called The Play That Goes Wrong. It's here on Broadway right now. Come on in, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hey, welcome.
Where are these three?
How's it going? Henry Lewis, Jonathan Sayer, and Henry Shields.
Hello.
All coming in. Welcome, welcome, guys. Sit down. Welcome to the show. I've seen the play.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
It's very funny, and I'll tell you.
Straight in. Here we go.
A lot of times, I go to, especially like, I don't know, for some reason I feel like I'm not gonna, like, I'll be able to acknowledge that a play is funny, but I won't genuinely laugh at it. You know what I mean? I'll be like, these are Broadway people trying to be funny or whatever. But I went with Roland, and genuinely, he can vouch for it, was like laughing the entire time, which is tough because there's a lot of physical gags in it. And there has to be a risk. It's called The Play That Goes Wrong. And what you're watching basically is a play within a play. So you're watching these people who are not necessarily the greatest actors in the world putting on this show. And as you're sitting in the audience, you get to just watch it fall apart over the course of a couple hours. And it's like an incredible thing. In the pacing of it and in the way you perform it, there has to be this sort of risk of like, well, we have to vary it enough so it's not people watching the same sort of pratfall gag over and over again, because people aren't going to laugh at that over that amount of time. Am I right?
Yeah, no, totally. No, there is a huge range of jokes in the show,
right?
And it's kind of carefully structured and built so that the whole thing builds, over time, and the jokes develop, and you have sort of callbacks to things and stuff. So yeah, no, of course, it's developed so that it sustains for the full 2 acts.
Yeah. What made you guys want to do this as a play? Like, are you guys are you a traveling, or are you a specific theater group, or do you consider yourselves a comedy group?
Well, we all went to drama school together, so we all went to theatre school. So that was kind of where we all started, and I suppose we've kind of morphed into more and more of a comedy group, and kind of meaning we do theatre, but we also do TV and movies and lots of different things. But yeah, I suppose that answers the question. So initially, the idea was always to put on a play. We started off as an improv troupe.
That's what I kind of could have guessed. Yeah.
So we'd go to the Edinburgh Festival, and we do a whole host of different kind of improv shows and late night shows, and we've kind of learned our craft through doing all kinds of different things. We've done kind of theatre, comedy, but we've also done lots of kind of like gigs in bars and stand-up clubs. So it's a nice kind of crossover, I think. We have that ability to act and tell the story that way, but also we do a lot of interaction with the audience and stuff, I suppose, where we're comfortable from our gigs doing that kind of stuff.
Sure. Is it tough? Do you get heckler? Because there is audience interaction at this show, and so I'm like, are there hecklers or people who are kind of like, well, I'm gonna really be a part of the show? You know, those overzealous audience participators?
Weirdly, not so much here. Actually, we get a lot more of that in the UK than we do here.
Really?
I really expected it to be a more, American audiences being a bit more kind of wild and rowdy, but actually it's been the other way around, because I think generally people here are more supportive. They want the show to go well. They want you to do well.
And it's the Broadway crowd, right?
Yeah.
It's people who respect plays and like they want to just be an audience member and watch this thing.
Yeah, it's not the drunk frat boy crowd, which would suit the show, really.
Right. Either one would work. I mean, that's kind of the brilliance of it, right? That you could perform this thing in front of a lot of different audiences.
Yeah.
So how do you guys end up getting connected with J.J. Abrams?
He came to see the show in London. The story goes that he was filming Star Wars over there, and he had a night off and was on his own in the city and had nothing to do, wandering around, and just walked past the theatre and thought it looked interesting, and just went in on his own, bought a ticket, watched the show, and just absolutely loved it. So he came back stage and spoke to us afterwards and was really enthusiastic. Just said, how can I help? How can we get it to Broadway? And so when
J.J. Abrams comes back and he's like, I want to get it to Broadway, are you guys like, okay, this is bullshit, but thank you for the compliment?
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will come back and be like, oh, it'd be great to take this show out to the States, and we'd be like, yeah, it would, of course. And then he kind of went away, and we'd be like, oh, what a lovely man, he really enjoyed the show, and what a nice gesture to say it should go to America. And then, a week later you find out that he's been in touch with the British producers again, saying, oh, why don't we do this would be a really good way of getting out to America. And then he's stayed very, very kind of involved, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, I want to produce this and be one of the lead producers with it. And his kind of influence has grown, and it's been fantastic, because he has really been a huge driving part, along with the other producers, of getting us out here.
Yeah,
he's a guy who gets stuff done. You get that impression. He's
it's kind of amazing. And did he try to change any part of it, or was the creative completely left to you?
I believe he tried to remove me from the production.
He did. That's a shame. It's a bummer to
It was
hear.
a split decision in the end, and John got in.
Just about got the vote.
Sneaked in. But no, he was really actually of all everybody kind of whenever anyone comes on board like producers and stuff, they always have a little things they want to change or things they'd like to say. More than anyone, he was very respectful of our show and respectful of our work, and just sort of said the show is what it is, it works as it is, and you guys have made it, so we should keep it pretty much as it is, and wanted to preserve the work we'd done, which was really good.
I think it definitely takes balls. I think brilliance to spoil the play in like the first couple scenes, like to accidentally spoil the quote unquote accidentally spoil the ending. Do you have any parts that you specifically enjoy doing, like more than others?
Yeah. There's lots of bits. I mean, I sort of enjoy. There's lots of more physical stuff in Act 2 that I really, really enjoy. I don't know. I don't want to give too much away. There's a couple of bits.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to like. Yeah,
we talk about the fire extinguisher thing because that's fun.
So that's an improvised bit. So there's a moment where there's a fire on stage, and the fire goes out. And then, just too late, I come on with the fire extinguisher, put out the fire, and end up spraying it all over John. I then have to get off stage because obviously I'm not supposed to do that in the play, and I have to kind of invent a reason as to why I've come in and why I'm taking away the coal scuttle, which is the thing that was on fire, and that's always improvised every night. So it's always a different reason I'm taking the coal, or a different reason why I've come in, and that's kind of a fun bit because you never quite know what that's going to be, and it's kind of fun to play with that and play with the audience and sort of see what's in the room. So yeah.
The thing that I was wondering too is that the experience of the play kind of begins as you're sitting there, not sure when it started or not. You know what I mean? Like there's an interactive element to it that's happening before the play starts. Do you guys, or do the people who perform those roles, do they ever end up in scenarios where the audience kind of doesn't want to play back? You know, that's what I always wonder with comedy that is interactive. The fact that you don't have comedy crowds, you have Broadway crowds, means that you could easily have people that kind of are just stone facing you, not to be dicks, but just because I don't know how to interact with you on a comedic level. I'm just here to watch a play.
A little bit. I'm one of the people who goes out at the beginning and does stuff, but actually, again, American audiences are kind of prepped for that. I think they're much more used to improvising and getting involved and playing around, and people are pretty much up for it. Whatever we do, we come up and go up to them, and we're looking for a dog. Is the thing we said we've lost the dog that's supposed to be in the show, and people are pretty fun and want to join in. Almost too much, often too much.
Yeah, that was Roland. That was when we were sitting there. Roland got asked, "Hey, have you seen a dog?" And Roland just, he mumbles. Have you spoken to Roland?
No.
I haven't understoed a word he said.
You haven't, have you?
I've just been, very good, mate. That sounds great. Yeah. But I don't know what he said at all.
Roland, come here for a second. By the way, because he's very professional here. He does a great job booking guests. He brought you guys in. Like, he's exceptionally professional, and he's very, very good at his job. But in a social setting, he's an embarrassment, So, that's fair, right, Roland?
I fall apart sometimes.
Right. So we go... And it was Roland's second time seeing the show. That's how much he liked it.
Right.
But we go and we see it, and they're going out and they're in the crowd, and they go, "Oh, have you seen a dog?" And Roland just goes, "Yes." And then of course it's improv. He goes, "Oh, well, what did the dog look like?" And Roland just goes, like a little bitch. Just had to move on without it.
Pretty unhelpful stuff.
Roland.
Yeah. You were that guy.
Yeah.
I was shamed. I'm like, such language. I'm sorry.
Just throwing something at you that's like, okay, we're nowhere to go with that.
Yeah, no, sometimes it's tough.
I think it's good though.
Thanks, bro.
The woman behind me gave me a dirty look. Like, how dare you? I'm like, I'm sorry. Having fun.
I suppose those bits are really useful because there's a lot of preconceptions about the theatre. One of them is when the show starts, you sit quietly and you observe, or you might laugh and you give gentle applause, but there is a fourth wall and you don't break it. And I think all those bits with people asking where the dog is and all the little moments, because it happens in the intermission as well, where people are going out into the audience and kind of, you don't know if the play is happening or whether it's started or whether it's about to start. And I think what that does is it just corrodes a few of those things of, I have to be quiet. And that really helps later, because you don't want the audience to be respectful. This whole show is about pointing at people and mocking them as they make mistakes. And the more ready people are to just show you no respect, the better the show is. I remember when we started doing this show, in little pub theatres and smaller spaces, kind of 90-seaters, where it's a studio, so the theatre wasn't raised, and you were really, like, next to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
We used to remark how amazing it was, how disrespectful people would be. The people would just shout stuff out, like literally in the middle of a scene. People would like just get up, walk across the stage to go to the restroom. But actually, those moments are some of the best moments in the show's history because they're just really funny, you know.
Right.
Because that's what the show is all about, humiliation.
That's such a good descriptive. I never would have been able to describe it. That's probably why I enjoyed it so much. It's just about getting to sit there and mock people for doing a bad job.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
Something everybody wants to do.
It is, but, I feel like in we've gotten so PC that we're not really allowed to mock people the way we used to. Like, that sort of thing, like, you don't want to be you don't want to be labeled a bully. You don't want to be called these certain things. So when you have a place that is a safe space for pure mockery.
Yeah.
And
this is your outlet.
Yeah, and the people they're like, you guys on stage are not going to mock me back. I'm in the position of superiority.
This is turning into a great advert. Are you a bully? Did you bully people at school and you're not allowed to anymore? You can't get away with it?
Yeah.
Come and see our show.
Yeah, you can bully them. Yeah. It's great.
Maybe we should do like a schools tour, and we could solve bullying at schools. We could go in.
Don't bully your friends, bully us.
Yeah, get it out of your system.
Yeah.
Go watch the show, laugh at them, and then you don't have to laugh at the poor kid in class who's gotten enough of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the solution to bullying, not to stop it, but just to provide an area where it's allowed.
That's
probably a good idea.
It's like that movie, The Purge. Everybody's got to get it out of their systems. That's what it is.
One day, in every school in the country, you can do whatever you want.
Right. Except to you guys.
Yeah.
Who are your influences? Because I feel, as I was watching it, there was definitely, I mean, as an American, it might be ignorant, but there was definitely like Monty Python and stuff like that. But I also don't. It felt a little, I don't know, unprecedented seems a little bit dramatic, but I don't know how much of this has been done on Broadway before.
I don't know. I mean, on Broadway, I don't think anywhere really it's been done in exactly the same way we're doing it.
Right.
It's not a brand new concept. The idea of things going wrong sort of goes all the way back to Shakespeare and Midsummer Night's Dream, the Rude Mechanicals at the end of that. But as for our influences, do you want to talk about Michael Green?
Sure. So, I worked with a guy called Michael Green when I was at youth theatre, and he wrote a book called The Art of Course Acting, which is like lots of anecdotes about things that went wrong in shows that he did in this amateur theatre. And he was really amazing. He started to write sort of short 20-minute plays. There were loads of different ones in different genres, and things went wrong in these shows. And he was sort of a big influence for me. And we met then at Lambda, which is a drama school in London, and we sort of wrote the play together after that. But there's lots of other influences as well. Like you say, Monty Python is a big one for us. We're big fans of sort of silent comedy as well.
I mean, there's a few kind of homages to Buster Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that's really exciting because you say, this stuff's never been done. Some of those big physical slapstick sequences, they started off on vaudeville,
right,
and then they found their way onto screen, and then they stayed on screen really. So it's really fun to bring those things back. In a world where there's probably more red tape, so it's harder to do.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really cool part of the show. I think there are these stunts and these bits where you really have to see them to believe them. They're quite hard to kind of describe, but that's really fun to have jokes that make you gasp as well as laugh. I think that's a big influence for us as well.
There are a lot of technical elements to the show and to the set and everything, and the things that go wrong kind of have to go wrong just right in order to further the narrative and make it so that the next thing goes wrong in the proper way. Do you have instances where things are legitimately going wrong and you kind of have to figure it out on stage?
Annoyingly, that it's less fun than you'd think when things actually go wrong, because all it tends to be is something not happening, because obviously the show's designed to everything breaks, falls apart, it goes all over the place, bursts into flames and stuff. So if something actually goes wrong, what that usually means is us all standing on stage waiting for something to happen and nothing happening.
Right, so there's no extra punchline.
Yeah, you don't get you just get an empty space and you go, oh, that was awkward, and move on to the next one.
Is that what you have to do, just kind of ignore it?
Depends on what it is. But we have a lot of contingencies because it's such a technical show. There's a lot of things that can break. There's a lot of things that could not go off when they're supposed to. So we actually have backup plans. But particularly for the last sort of 20 minutes of the show, we have a kind of another version rehearsed that cuts out a couple of things just in case they're not working.
Like one of those books that you have when you're a kid. It's like, do you want Johnny to go to the disco?
Choose
If you
your
do,
adventure.
page 5, and you kind of like, okay, well, that hasn't happened, so let's turn to page 6 and move on to this bit.
And everybody just kind of knows, like, all the different angles that this could go in at any given moment.
Pretty much.
So you know, if you're like, okay, that didn't happen, I'm going to shift in this direction, you guys just kind of follow him over there.
Yeah, and we discuss it a lot before shows and stuff, and we say that, remember, if this happens, then we all go to this, and, so we're constantly refining, and every time we find a new little thing that if that happens, then we'll have to do this. So we're always kind of keeping that up to date. I've got a fun story, actually, about when something went wrong that was quite dramatic.
Yes.
It's quite fun. So there's a moment where a fire starts on stage, and that fire is cued by a man backstage. And when the show was in London, there was lots of different devices. We had this problem where the fire just kept not starting, which was one of those examples that Henry says where really it just meant there was no joke. So we'd just be like, oh, we can't do that bit, so let's just
Which
move on.
also means, we talked about the fire extinguisher bit.
Yes,
that becomes more difficult to do if there's no fire.
Yeah,
right?
Just
Like
a man appears with a fire extinguisher.
And we were like, we need to make... So we had this big conversation. We were like, we really need that fire to cue. Otherwise, we lose so many really good jokes and so many great moments as a knock-on. So this new... coal scuttle, which is where the fire happens, was built and created and came in, and they were like, this definitely works, it's so sensitive, like it's perfect, it will definitely fire. And we rehearsed with it and it was fine, and then like the second night it was used in the show, it just exploded like just randomly out of nowhere and caught one of the actors' pants on fire, and he left immediately and had his trousers put out. So that was quite dramatic,
which is great. And all the audience is like, they're like, no, I'm on fire right now. And they're like, oh, yeah.
It's the worst show for that to happen.
Right.
Anything actually, if anyone's ever injured or anything like that, the audience will just laugh at them and you just lie there.
Has anyone gotten hurt aside from somebody's pants being on fire?
Dave, one of the other actors, dislocated his shoulder. He's done that twice now, actually.
How?
In different ways. It's an old injury he had from playing rugby when he was younger, and I think just the tiniest thing. I think he was doing a dive across the stage at one point, slipped on a cushion, and it just threw it out. And then, obviously, he couldn't keep doing the show, so he just got up and left and got in a cab to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
The audience didn't realise anything was wrong.
because that's the show.
And so we brought the guy who plays the technician. He came on stage to do the rest of the part. We didn't stop. We just kept going.
Which everybody is under the assumption that this is the way the play is written anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
And so he came on and did the rest of the part, and nobody realised anything. Obviously, we were all terrified and trying to work out how to do the entire show with a new actor who's never done it before.
Yeah.
But nobody was any the wiser.
Does that take away some of your fears of going on Broadway, realizing that, like, if things do go wrong, like, it's not supposed to be polished? Like, people will assume that everything's on purpose.
I guess you just want to avoid those silences.
Yes,
we can get away with it a lot, and we're pretty good improvisers. We can get through most stuff as long as there's not an awkward silence while we're waiting for something to happen.
Everyone's just looking at each other like,
do we move on? Do we wait for the trick to happen? What do we do? That's the tough bits.
Yeah, totally.
It's worth saying as well that I think a lot of these mistakes and problems they're when the show started in its much earlier days. Like now, I think we've done the show so many times that if you come and see the show, it's very likely that you'll just get a full show and everything will go right. Like
true. Talking a lot about how it doesn't work.
We're not just trying to battle through failure. Like, usually the show goes as it should.
Right, but you'd never know.
But you
would never know. No.
Yeah. We've just been trying to do a serious murder mystery for the last 5 years. And
never
it's just a roller coaster ride.
I'm actually very insulted by your interview style right now. I mean, this is a mystery play.
Because we're bad actors.
Do you have aspirations to? Have you thought about what happens after the show? Now that you're in the States, have you thought? Would you stay here? Have you thought about trying stuff out in Hollywood, or would you go back to the UK and figure out the next show and do this all over again?
It's an interesting question. We have to leave the States because our visas run out. So we'll be kicked out.
Yeah.
Deported, or we'll be illegals.
And I don't know if you heard about the wall we're building. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to get back.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll be back in the UK for the end of the year, and we've got a couple of things lined up there that we're going to be working on, some TV projects and things over in the UK. As for Hollywood, we're up for it.
Yeah. Hey, JJ.
Yeah. We've talked about a few different ideas. I don't know what will happen and what won't. It's all very embryonic at the moment.
Are you guys? Have you written screenplays before, like for movies?
No, never written a movie.
We haven't written a movie yet. That's on the to-do list.
And so you should do.
Absolutely.
I suppose.
Right?
We've got some ideas for movies. We've jotted some down, loose ideas.
So having the guys from Super Troopers.
If you're listening and you make movies, do get in touch. We are inexperienced but keen to learn.
Any big movie buffs that are going to throw money at people for films, go see the play.
Exactly.
It's great. You'll enjoy. JJ liked it.
Yeah.
You know, so has it been weird having this kind of exposure? Has that been kind of, having the this sort of Broadway? It's a big deal to be in America on Broadway. Like, it's about as big as it gets for a play, right?
Yeah. Well, we've been on the West End for a couple of years in London, and in the UK we're certainly much more well known than we are here.
So it's been weird having this kind of exposure, meaning more people should know who you are.
Yes,
I get that.
Very weird having this kind of exposure again, because we're starting from scratch. But it's been really cool. And Broadway is certainly it feels like a bigger deal than the West End. I think it's just generally people are much more impressed by being on Broadway.
Are you trying to break each other at any points when you're on stage, just to kind of break up the monotony of doing a show every single time, or do you just like doing the show as the show?
No, we might have different answers. I just really like when the show goes as planned. I think that's really good, because we're really proud of the show. So you want to just. I think everyone's built the show and created the show.
Yeah,
so
I guess that's a big part of it.
To them be trying to ruin the show.
You always hear actors talk about how they get bored of the material and they try to crack each other up, but it's not their material.
Yeah, that's true.
And the fact that you guys have created this thing, this is your baby, you must want to present it as it was intended every single time.
Yeah, we don't want to screw it up. There's, we still have fun with it, and we still mix it up and keep it interesting for us. Like the bit that Hen was describing with the fire extinguisher is always improvised, and is always a different reason every night, and that often makes me laugh on stage, but luckily I'm facing upstage at the time, so no one notices. But yeah, there's some pretty fun stuff that comes out of that. But it is something that we've all been doing for such a long time, but we really enjoy working with each other. And if you're engaged and you're playing with the audience, it's such an immersive show. It is always a bit different every night. The audience is different.
When did the show start?
So we started in Christmas 2012 was our first run.
Wow.
And it was only a one-act show at that point, and we did it in a small pub theatre in London, North London.
Yeah, we haven't been doing it since then, the whole way through. There's new casts that have taken over in London, but we did it for about a year and a half, and then came back to it.
Yeah, but it's been one of those things that's been building and building and building over the course of several years.
Yeah. We did it at a few different fringe venues. Then we took it on tour in the UK, and then we brought it into the West End, where we did it for sort of 11 months.
Right.
And then it's still running there now, with the fourth cast have just started this month.
Wow. So the play runs on Broadway until
next year.
Hopefully it will just run forever.
But you guys have to leave, but the play will stay.
We leave in September, but there'll be a new cast, hopefully, in September, of American actors, which will be interesting.
Really?
Doing British accents, I think, yeah.
Is that right?
We have to.
This is like the opposite of The Walking Dead or any of these shows where all the actors are actually British. You're getting
it's equity rules. We're out and American actors are in. But it'll be good. It'll be fun.
Do you get to cast it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
we're starting that process quite soon. I mean, the show has been extended, so it's running through till next year for sure.
Okay.
We have two American understudies in the cast, Jonathan and Amelia, who are incredible. Mm-hmm. But when we cast them, and we were the standard of the accents, I thought was incredible when we did that casting day.
Yeah,
so I think when we leave, I think it'll be fine. I think you'll probably have people with better English accents than myself.
You don't think they could do the play with just American accents?
Some roles, but not all roles. I think because it's a British murder mystery. And I think you have to.
I guess that's true.
Stuffy, reserved kind of sensibility to be undercut. I think that's a big part of why it's funny.
Yeah,
I don't know. Murder mystery. Is that a genre here? Like Manor House murder mystery?
I mean, when you think of it, you think of old like British.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You want it to feel like the tropes. You want to hit all the tropes.
It adds authenticity. Well, if you want to see the original cast perform these roles, then you have to go to BroadwayGoesWrong.com and get tickets right away, because they'll be here for the summer, and then that'll be it. If they're sold out, then get some tickets for the fall or something, because it's still an amazing play. Mm-hmm. Go to BroadwayGoesWrong.com. It really is a funny show, and if you've ever been at a Broadway show and wanted to see the entire production fall apart, this would be the show for you. It's hilarious. It's really, really well done. So congratulations to you guys on it. And again, go to BroadwayGoesWrong.com, and Twitter is at BWayGoesWrong. And I recommend it. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Good luck to all you. We're taking off for the day and for the week. So I'll see you all in about a week. All right? See everybody later. Goodbye.
Oh my God, it's over.
This has been Jim Norton and Sam Roberts.